Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Worth a Damn Gaming. My name is Jake Stavik, your host for the wonderful show here on our regular weekly gaming chatter. Joining me, as per usual, is my companion, StreetRat Atlas. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Hello. I should probably go and change that on my stream. Hello, everyone. Oh, okay. I'm doing well.
Doing
How are
okay?
you doing?
I have had a stressful week, and I think my body has just finally collapsed. So I've now got the flu. I've got a really sore throat, so it's going to be a fun stream for me. But essentially, we've had a little bit of difficulty with Piper. She has not been able to go to daycare for the last week, which means me and Kate have been alternating as far as who's staying home. Now, because both of us have started new jobs relatively recently, none of us have accumulated any sick leave or annual leave, which is very frustrating. I've always said this to my wife. I hate the fact that when you move jobs, you do not keep that pile of money that has been set aside for your sick leave, and that doesn't just come with you like your fucking annual leave. It drives me fucking bonkers. If you've worked your ass off and that money's set aside for those rainy days, that should be like tailored into your fucking, like, I don't know, somehow through the government, as far as that's your money, that's what you're entitled to, should something bad go, like something bad happen.
I think I see the two sides to this situation, because I've had employees at my place abuse their sick leave when now they're in the negatives. And it almost takes the piss out of the situation. So I get why if you start a new job, you need to accrue it. But we're also humans.
Yeah.
We also get sick. So when you're starting a job, you should be allowed up to 5 days when you start, and then you can accrue more as you go.
Yeah.
There needs to be a default. You don't need to work up to it. So it sucks.
Yeah.
It really sucks. I have
So,
like 2 months worth of sick leave.
Yeah, and this is where I get frustrated because I know that I made the right decision leaving the last job for my mental well-being because I needed something completely different. But now I'm at a detriment because I don't have any of that sick leave anymore. I don't have any of the annual. I'm literally having to use my annual for the last couple of days that I have had to take off. And of course, even though it's like a little bit of like yellow that's coming out of Piper's eyes, which honestly is not going to kill anyone, daycare is just like, nope, she needs to be signed off that it's not conjunctivitis, that it's not going to be dangerous to all the other children. And it's like, for fuck's sake, can you just take my child, because I need to be working in order to fucking pay for things. That's how this works, right? This is why we have created a daycare system, and you're not making it easy for parents that, oh, something goes wrong. Well, and it's like, it's almost assumed that the wife will just deal with it. And in my head, I'm like, well,
that's
hold
what
on.
a good wife does.
No. So I don't know if my boss was even like happy that I took the Friday off, which was the recent day that I had. But now we're essentially looking at having to get a nanny because my mom's basically working. I don't have any kind of family or extended family close by that I can just drop Piper off. I don't know about dropping Piper off with Frank because that's still very tense, and I don't know how to feel about, well, he's in retirement mode, so he doesn't want to be interrupted as far as I'm concerned, as far as how he's spoken. So, you know what? I'm not going to test the boat with that. So, and with my mom, I've really only got Mondays, but the difficulty with that is she's technically doing a night shift typically on a Sunday night, and she's not back home till about 10:30. So it's this weird, like, you know, this weird gap that I'm already at work along with Kate, and, well, what do we do with Piper for those 3-4 hours? So it's a case of, all right, well, now we need to look at a nanny or something, which is now going to cost us $400 or $500 a week type of deal, which,
Yeah.
and, theoretically, this is just like, if we need one more week, then we organize a nanny, we pay them what the hourly rate is, just so she can get through whatever this is, and then we can get her back in the daycare. And then maybe we can accumulate enough fucking sick leave or, annual leave to get through the next couple of days of God knows what she will, throw at us. Because God forbid she gets sick at daycare where all the other kids get sick and they just send it to my child, or vice versa, my child sends it to them, because they just get sick. It's not a big
Yeah.
deal. This isn't COVID. No one is dying. I don't know why the big issue. So that's the stress that I'm dealing with, along with my
And don't
wife.
you want your kid to be sick so
As-
that their
well,
antibodies can start
that's
developing?
kind of the mindset. But apparently it's like, oh, if it sniffles, if it's a little bit of a cough, it's fine. Oh no, there's stuff coming out of her eyes. There's yellow. Oh no! It's not even red. She's not going to go around up to other kids and the kids are going to go, oh, tasty yellow stuff. Just wipe it with a cloth, god damn it. Like, we're not asking for much. So it's just like I don't even know if bureaucracy is the right word, but it's just fucked. The way the system is geared is fucked. You want people to have kids as well as afford things in life, and you want them to also pay for commodities, and you also want them to, pay the regular fucking taxes and the bills and everything else. Well, with stuff like this that happens, we're living in a day and age where parents both parents typically need to be working. This isn't like back in the 60s or 70s where you could live off one income. You typically need two.
I'm home.
Yeah, it's
Why,
like,
dear, I made a chicken roast for
fucking
you.
Flintstones. Yeah, I know. You've got fucking WandaVision in your head.
I'm so excited for Vision Quest. Ah!
So yeah, it's been
yes.
just a lot of stress, and then I've obviously collapsed because of everything else that I'm like just dealing with her and general life stuff where I'm just like, ugh. So today I'm just crap. Other than that, we're moving on. Things are fine. Everyone's healthy. Piper's happy. She's bouncing off the walls as usual. Constantly wanting my attention. Daddy, daddy.
Naturally.
Dada, dada, dada. Now she can say up, up. She looks at me, up. I go, okay. We've learned that word now. Awesome. We just need a bit more context. We need to refine it. We're getting there. Awesome. Now we're figuring things out. So yeah, it's fun. I enjoy being a dad overall.
That's good.
It's everything around that's just been anyway. How about yourself? What's happening in your world?
Not a lot. Really nothing.
Nah.
It's just been a very full-on week. I've barely done anything with my hobbies.
You have hobbies?
Yeah.
What? No.
Though, you know what? I have been continuing reading. I think that has been my downtime for most of this, which is reading the third book of the Dungeon Crawler Carl series, because it just transports me and my mind just focuses on what is happening. And this third book has been such a great fucking distraction because it's all set on trains. And I'm like,
Oh my
fuck
god.
yes. Awesome. So I'm...
We need more train levels. We don't get enough.
That is true. I'm in the last, I would say, so page 406, and there is 500 and, I don't want to read what's on the page, 532 pages.
Oh shit.
So
That's
I'm
a
doing
big book. Like, that's
Yeah,
not
they
a
get bigger.
small little novella. That's like a proper chunky book. Nice.
That's taken me just over a week to go through.
Yeah, awesome.
Like, that's how much I'm reading.
Good.
This series has enveloped my brain. So it's such a fun book, and I've got the fourth book ready to go. It's waiting on the bookshelf, and I'm like, I'll get to you. I promise, I will.
Yeah, well, you got to go back into the bookshop so the bitch can upsell you the next two.
That
So
is
yeah,
true.
like she needs her regular customer coming in like the
She's
crack
waiting
addict. Come
for
on.
me.
Yeah, what do you want from the jacket? Come on, I got all the new series. Do you want some Dan Brown? How about the
Oh,
new J.K. Rowling? She's using a new name, Adam West.
you know what? Has she written anything post drama?
Wait, post
Or is
drama?
she
Oh, no, yeah,
the
she's got
drama that
another series that I think she did, which is a bit more of a mystery, like a detective type thing. I don't know too much about it. Kate has a bit more of an idea.
because I
need
find
to
it
make
really
one.
interesting if she's set for life, clearly set for life.
She doesn't have to work a day in her life now, but I'm sure,
I
like
don't,
any artist, look, she will probably be spending time with her kids and her grandkids if she's got any at the moment, doing whatever her
if they
philanthropy
want to
type
spend time with
interests,
her.
and then she's probably writing stuff on the side. I'm sure her grandchildren want to spend time with her amazing grandmother who's got billions of dollars in the bank. And is about to get a lot more once the first season of the TV series watches, because everyone's going to be jumping on that bandwagon, whether they like the black character or not. They're going to watch it and they're going to sit there and complain. But the money's coming in for the what is it? HBO? Is it HBO that's making it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're like, yeah, you hate this. Come on, you want to keep watching it and hating on it. Yeah, that's it. Give us all your hate money.
And that's one of the most powerful things, is that it's going to get people talking. It will have huge impact. It might bring the series back, where the movies, depending on how the show is going and how close to the books they're going with it. Because as I've said, if you're going to do a book series, TV show is your best bet, because you've got that extra time to really delve into things.
Yes.
But
you've always got the ability to flesh it out more.
when you are working with kids, you better make those shows pretty fucking quickly, because we saw the transformation of Daniel, Emma, and Rupert, and by the 7th or 8th film, they were fucking adults.
Yeah,
and
look,
they did not
they're
look
young
anything
adults.
like. Yeah. So you would hope that the show is respectful in how they are to the books, because I think the movies missed out on such really fun parts that delved into more of Hogwarts and the life of Hogwarts, instead of focusing on just Harry.
Yeah.
When you've got the fourth book and Hermione's dealing with the whole, not goblins, the elves
The elves
in the kitchen, and dealing with that sort of diplomatic side of things, when you've got the ghosts and their politics with the other house ghosts, and Peeves, who has a huge reveal by book 6 or 7, who was involved with Voldemort.
I don't even remember that detail. That's okay.
He was there for, obviously he was there during the time that Tom Riddle was at Hogwarts, but he was involved in, I think, hiding the diadem or something, but he helped kind of evolve Voldemort in that story. And we didn't even get a lot about, to be fair, I don't really remember seeing the history of Tom Riddle and his family in the Pensieve, and seeing his mum and dad.
They never go into that. That was the one thing I remember when I read the book. I was like, wow, this is such a cool story. And everything that happens between Dumbledore and his sister and Grindelwald, and I'm like, why is this not in the fucking film? Jesus Christ. So there This is why I
Huge
know people
storytelling.
have their contention with the third movie, and I get it. For
I
me,
like the
the
third movie.
I think the third movie stands pretty well. Like, yes, there are things cut out. Yes, I think there are certain emotional beats that are missed between Harry and Sirius that I don't think are as established
Yep.
as what they are in the books. But overall, I think it gets the beat per beat kind of sequences right. What always irritated me about the third movie, and that was purely because they changed directors, was
Hmm.
the tonal shift in the color scheme. Like it's like we went from these bright colors, and then all of a sudden, well, because we're telling a dark tale, it's all going to be dark and gloomy and like, these grays and browns and blues. And I'm like, fuck off, man. Can we just, like, Star Wars never fucking changed its color scale. It was
Aesthetic. Yeah.
consistent.
Yep.
Luke is having a hard time. You don't suddenly see George Lucas going, well, we're going to make this all gray and dark and gloomy. No, it's still fucking colorful. We're just using. It's just nighttime. That's it. We might use some blues instead of, like, having everything. It's it always annoyed
But
the shit out of me.
I think what Star Wars does really well is encapsulates how if a moment is dark, like when Luke is on Dagobah and he goes into the force sensitive fog and has that moment with Vader, that was dark and gloomy for the sense
Yep.
of that moment of Luke coming face to face with the evil he has to confront.
Yes.
And
You
it's done
can.
so well that
Yeah.
when you have the rest of the film, it's okay, we're now grounding the art style. So you realize when something is more mystical or force focused,
Yeah.
because the force will have more of that tint. And even when it's the Jedis, even in the other movies, there's like this very subtle, I think they do it more in the animated stuff, but you get that sense of, okay, when the Jedis are really meditating and stuff, you can see that everything starts to get a bit lighter, and you can see, okay, in this moment, we're looking through this Jedi's point of view, and this is what they're feeling, and we can
Mm.
see that visually.
Yep.
And
Well, I
then,
mean, all you have to do, like, we even look at the very first Harry Potter movie, Philosopher's Stone, where Harry's in the forest, or even the sequel when they're in the forest and they're dealing with the spiders. It is still a colorful scene because, yeah, when you see the fucking lantern, it's actually orange. It's not like this gray-scaled orange. It's an actual,
yeah,
like, orange. There's still color, but you're just making it dark. And therefore, by
correct.
definition, hey, it feels a little spookier because there's less light in the scene. What's going on? It builds mystery. We don't need to sit there and start playing with the fucking color grading just to make people feel like, oh, I guess this is the dark, like, tone now, and this is all gonna be scary and very emotional and dramatic. It's like, fuck off, man. Take your artistic, fucking color grading back to your fucking art house films and just tell good fucking stories. Oh my god. Drives me nuts.
Wow.
Mm. Ah. So yeah, anything else happening in your life?
Um, I'm up to date with One Piece. So
Nice.
I'm not watching it dub anymore. I'm watching it
Yep.
sub.
Okay.
Because I was like, you know what? I don't fucking care anymore. I need to see what's happening. I need to know. I can't stress enough how fucking good this show is. And they have changed the pacing so fucking much.
Mm.
It's insane. Something that would have taken 5 episodes now happens within a minute. And it's like, oh, okay, you are going to tell a fucking epic story right now. Granted, it's only going to be 25 episodes, and I fucking hate that because some arcs took 112 episodes, and I fucking loved it because I just want more. But I've done that. What else? In other than not really doing anything, life has just been going smoothly. It was my grandmother's 91st birthday on
Jesus
Thursday.
Christ. Well done,
Yeah.
sir. Well done, ma'am.
She is, yeah, she's doing well. In an elderly person way of doing well.
Mm.
She's part deaf, dementia starting to hit her.
Yeah,
So
that
it's
sucks.
sometimes a bit tense
Yeah.
when her children are talking to her, but that's fine. It's hard because today at lunch we had a smorgasbord of charcuterie. So it was just picking and eating, and it was my cousin, my sister, my dad, my uncle, me, my partner, my mum, and my grandmother.
Yep.
And majority of us speak English, and one person doesn't really speak Spanish in this at all. And so majority of the conversation was in English, and my grandmother decided to sit on the couch.
Yep.
And we just kept talking and laughing. And then half an hour later, my grandma's like, "Oh, now I feel like I'm missing out." And we're like, "Yeah, well, you sat down on the couch. Like, of course, like, sit, you know?" So my grandmother's feeling a little weird. It wasn't so much a celebration for her. But it was good. Other than that, it was nice. But yeah, things are good. There's nothing to
Good.
complain about. Oh, the
That's
moral of
good.
the story is I bought my mum a Mother's Day present that arrived
Mm.
on Monday.
Yep.
And it was the Philips Hue strip lights. And
Yes.
because my mum just got a Murphy bed, she wanted
Yep.
the lights inside
Yes.
the part of the Murphy bed.
Yep.
So we got that set up. And it looks fucking sick. It
You
actually
happy
turned
with
out
it?
really cool.
Nice.
But her modem is like a stock modem from Vodafone. And my mum doesn't want to get a new one
Why
that has
not?
more
Oh my
Ethernet
god.
ports. She's like, "No, this one works. This one works." And I'm like,
No,
"Okay,
no. It
yeah,
would work so much
sure.
better. Why?
Okay."
Oh
And
god.
she's like, "No, I've just had too many issues with the internet and this one works." And I'm like, "Yeah, but it could work better, but that's
It
fine,
will work
whatever."
better. That's dude. And I recently got a new modem, a new router for the front of the house, which I've set up really nicely. I was very proud of myself. Did all the cabling, had like I literally cut a hole in the wall so I could run the cabling
Mm.
up through the channel and then would come out through like a little conduit type thing. So it looks all clean and neat, and I've actually hung up the router itself. But just so I could get coverage at the front of the house, and I've got it set up so you've got like the mesh technology because they're both Asus's. So I can just walk through the house and it usually automatically connects to whichever router you want, or you can manually set it to specific devices. It's not perfect. It's not the way I idealized or have in the back of my mind, and I think there's just probably some minor like growing pains with the technology there, and it also depends on the compatibility of the devices. But it does what it needs to. Occasionally, I might have to like reset my phone, which is what I had to do because for whatever reason, I'll be around in the bedroom or in one of the bathrooms, and it's trying to pick up the signal from the one in the garage as opposed to the one that's closest. And I'm like, you fucking just, ugh! And then I reset it through the router options on the phone app, and then it just goes, oh yeah, cool. Well, you want to be in on this router in the living room. I'm like, yes, please. You're supposed to be smart enough for this. Ah! So yeah. Sorry,
No,
Impulsive. How are
not
you,
too.
mate? We haven't ignored you. We have seen you.
Hello, Impulsive. Also, I have sent the Twitch invite.
Oh, cool. Fucking hell. Hold on a sec. Let me do that. In the meantime, let me just split that.
Well,
Awesome.
while you're doing that, I have continued playing Mass Effect 2.
Well, I was gonna say,
on
what
the
have you been playing?
I am okay. So I saved Garrus.
Yep.
He's on the team, and I was like, oh, I'm. You're in, buddy. I'm never letting you go ever
Yep.
again.
Yep.
You're staying with me. And
Never gonna let you go.
I fucked up
Oh, why?
because now he's scarred for life.
Yeah, that's
He almost died, and I made sure in that
Good
mission, I was like, I need to protect him with everything I've got, and it worked. I saved him.
Nice.
There was a moment where I was talking to one of the guards that was fixing the gunship, and I missed the renegade option because I forget in Mass Effect 2, they introduce while you're conversing, you can then do a quick time event of either Paragon or Renegade. And I completely forgot. And as soon as it disappeared, I was like, oh, I bet you I could have fucking sabotaged the gunship. Oh, stupid. And so in the mission, while the team and Garrus, we were fighting, then the gunship came up, shot him. He was on the floor dying, and I was like, fuck. But it's all fine now. Now I have to save Caden, so I've left it on a little cliffhanger. So my mission now is on Horizon, I think, because the collectors are there. So I've got to do that. So it'd be nice to have the lads back.
Oh, that Caden. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. But I have a new appreciation for a new character. Jack. She is so fucking cool.
Yeah.
It was so funny when I met her. And I was like, oh, she's going to be one of these annoying types.
No, she's badass, man. She's fucking badass.
But when you first meet her, I was like, ugh, she's going to be like, I'm going to kill everyone. But she's like, I'll go with you if you give me access to all the files that Cerberus has. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I will give you access to all of them. And now she's called me a pussy. And I'm like, sold. Yep. I like you. So it's Garrus and Jack on my team. Always. Everywhere I go, they're with me. I love Jack. She has been such a great addition. And I love the abilities she has because she's so bionic. And every time I converse with her, I'm like slowly breaking down her vulnerability so that she's talking to me. And there was a conversation that we had where she started talking about her past and she picked up on it and she's like, look at you, Shepard. You got me talking. And I was like, fuck yeah, I did. I like you. I don't know if I'll romance her. The first one I didn't romance with anyone. I kind of killed off the only romance option that was interested in me. And I was like, yeah, Ashley or Caden? Caden. So this one, who knows if I'll pursue anything? Will I fall in love with Garrus? I don't know. I'll see where the game takes me. And it has been so much fun. But I've come across a grievance when I've played the game that I wish they didn't do.
What's that?
Why the fuck did you lock me in specific weapons when I choose a class? Who gives a fuck? If I choose a class, let me use any fucking gun. It annoys me because then you really have to make me feel like, oh, you have to have an optimized party with you. And it's like, no, just let me play the game. And
which class
maybe
did
I'm
you
not
pick,
proficient.
by the way?
Sentinel. I continued with Sentinel.
See, and this is why, like, I think Soldier is the best if you want the full range of weapons, because Soldier, you've got access to the pistol, the shotgun, the sniper rifle,
Mhm.
the regular rifle, and you've got the various options. So you've got the full suite, and then you got grenades as your special, but you don't have any of the abilities. Whereas I think in their minds, from a balancing standpoint, they went, well, you're already OP. We're going to try and limit what type of weapons you have. And I do agree, it is fucking annoying. You'd think that they just kind of sit there and they go, look, you pick what 2 or 3 weapons you want. That's what you keep.
Yeah.
And give the player the flexibility to switch and choose on the go.
I almost wish they had started going down the real RPG where, sure, you can pick a class, but optimize your class in, okay, you want to be a sentinel? Well, then we'll give you a similar to how Baldur's Gate 3 does it. Choose a class
Yeah.
and then have your stats, what you can be proficient in. And if I want to be a sentinel that does range and can use an assault gun, assault rifle, perfect. That's your hybrid class that you're making. I almost wish they allowed that sort of freedom, but that has been my only grievance. I've kind of gotten over the whole ammo situation because they are so liberal with it.
Yeah.
Every
I told
enemy
you.
drops ammo.
Yeah.
So at no point. But at that point, my argument still stands. If you are going to just constantly drop ammo, then just have heat weapons. Let me just have unlimited ammo and then circumvent it with, okay, it's going to overheat. Okay, fine. Oh, I can get an upgrade gun where it allows me to fire more before overheating? Sure.
Bump up the
That's
difficulty,
fine.
then come talk to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, because
That's
that plays more like
that.
a
Yeah. So,
hardcore mode.
yeah. So I think it's not, like I said, it's not noticeable on the base difficulty until you get a little bit further into the game and you start dealing with some of the more tougher enemies. But really, when you're playing on the harder difficulty, and I feel like that's kind of that weird sweet spot where you want the real challenge, you want the real push of the game. That's where you're going to get it. And I think that's why, and they end up in this weird circumventing sense. They end up, I think, giving you less ammo that they drop. So then you're really having to like run around and lure certain enemies to get closer to you so you can then like go and pick up the ammo without completely dying.
Mm.
But like,
But
again, I
it's
understand your
I
criticisms.
I almost feel that maybe, I mean, we see it a lot more in nowadays in games having those difficulty options where easy, unlimited ammo, enemies deal less damage, you have higher shields and health and all that stuff. Normal, yeah, this is default, everything's set to 100%, so no stress. Ammo can be unlimited, but you've got um, uh, the heat, or you can't continuously fire, you need to reload and whatnot.
Yeah.
Then your harder difficulties could be, okay, now it's going to be more strategic in how you play because enemies are going to be dealing more damage to you. Your shields aren't going to be as high. That's fine. Though, I'm talking about a game that came out in 2009, 11. 9?
Yes,
11.
and you're also
2011.
looking at a game that I think was looking at other games around the time to try and, replicate a similar tone, feel to gameplay mechanics. They tried to simplify things. They knew that Gears of War was popular and cover-based shooters were popular, so they tried to balance it around that and try and aim for that target audience. And in certain aspects, I think they succeeded. In other ways, I feel like they dumbed it down. And it's this weird, like, it's such a weird product. And I think 2 is the best of the 2, But then when you get to 3, you realize that instead of them scoping it to make it feel like, all right, we've now figured out the fundamentals, let's expand on this and make it bigger, they didn't. They just, it was the same game but just with a couple of minor tweaks and continuation to the story. And I think that's where I got frustrated, and probably other people probably felt the same way with the lackluster ending that they kind of had at the time, which is obviously slightly more improved, but you'll get there when you experience it. You'll be able to tell me.
Do you think 3 plays more like a 2.5 than a 3?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's that's what frustrates me, because it makes sense for this game because of the scale of the mission. The type of mission that you're doing, the person that you're working for, it feels like it's meant to be a smaller scale story. So it works. But then we get to the third game that's meant to feel like you're in a war, and I'm playing the same fucking cover-based shooter that I played in 2, and I go, oh, this doesn't quite... I don't feel like I'm actually in the midst of a war or a huge combat moment. So yeah, some slight pain points for me, but as far as the journey to the end, it's great. No real issues there.
I'm enjoying it.
Yep,
it's
good,
fun. I'm obviously I'll figure it out because that's how the story is being told. But I'm trying to connect how the collectors are involved with what happened in 1. So I'm really interested in... Okay, so Mass Effect 1 was primarily Saren and dealing with the Geth as your main antagonists, with the one Reaper Sovereign. And now we're dealing with this alien race that has been terrorizing the galaxy and collecting human colonies. And it's like, well, but how is this all connecting?
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I'm trying to, as I normally do, I'm trying to line things up, but I just don't have enough of the puzzle pieces to go, oh, I see what they're doing now, and I get what is happening. So it's, the storytelling, BioWare, my gosh.
At the time, yeah, at the time.
I'm really intrigued because I do have the Dragon Age, I almost said Dragon Quest, Dragon Age games. I don't have, wait, which ones do I have? So I've got Dragon Age Origins, Dragon Age Inquisition.
I'm going to be honest here and just, I mean, Impulsive can tell you otherwise. Personally, I feel like all you need to do is play 1 and be done with it. Everything else is like this substantial extra, like, oh, we're just trying to expand the world and tell more story. It's like, no, I'm sorry. As much as I'm kind of curious about 2 and then the third one, I couldn't give 10 fucks about.
Is that Origins?
Origins is the original.
So
and
that's
it is
1.
Yes. It is a dated game, so keep that in mind.
Of course.
And there are some minor little things where, as a Dungeons and Dragons style role-playing game, you're like, ooh, there's... okay. But the story is fucking amazing. Which I knew it was going to be, but you get to the end and you're just... some of the little plot points that happen, as well as all the choices that you make. And that was the thing, that game is also very choice dependent. So all the decisions you make with the characters, with the, the corresponding cast and stuff will determine what plays out at the end. And along with the other bits to the ending, the end game in relation to your character, it's just like, wow, that is like Game of Thrones style writing. This is on another level.
But that's what I feel with what BioWare was,
Yeah.
where it is. If could you imagine if BioWare at their peak made a Baldur's Gate? It would
Mm.
be insanity.
Well, I mean, they were the original pioneer. They were the original Baldur's Gate creators.
What?
Oh, you didn't know? Look up
Really?
BioWare for me, sweetheart.
No, it's Beamdog.
Now it
Wizards of the
probably is.
Coast.
Baldur's Gate. Bum, 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 bum. First release December 1998. Was developed by BioWare, published in 1998 by Interplay Entertainment. Sir, these are the original Dungeons and Dragons style storytellers.
Oh, so the enhanced edition was redone by
Correct, because of course
different.
BioWare lost the I would say the licensing rights. So once they got acquired by EA, that's kind of when they went off and did your Dragon Age, your Mass Effect, and everything else that kind of went from there. But before that, it was, yeah, a lot of it was Dungeons and Dragons run through, what's it called? Baldur's Gate. Like, hold on, where is... And they've also got a couple of different studios. So, yeah, they've had various people running through it. List of BioWare video games. Shattered Steel, Baldur's Gate, MDK2, Baldur's Gate 2, Neverwinter Nights, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic.
Nights.
Yeah. Not 2, just number 1. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, Jade Empire, then Mass Effect. And then obviously they did Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood, Mass Effect Galaxy.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a DS game. Dragon Age Origins, Mass Effect 2, Dragon Age 2, and then everything kind of just fell apart after that. But yeah, they had some great fucking games. This was not like a weak studio. Like they had Baldur's Gate and Baldur's Gate 2 did really well for them. Neverwinter Nights was a really great success. And then obviously Knights of the Old Republic was like this big fucking behemoth of a game, which was originally published by LucasArts and Microsoft Games Entertainment. And then after they did Jade Empire, which was still under Microsoft, then they got bought out by EA, I think. And that's where it wasn't, well, like it wasn't long after that. Yeah, so you had Mass Effect, you had Sonic Chronicles, which they did. Yeah, and I think it was around the Dragon Age point that, yeah, they got picked up by EA. And then it was basically an EA company. So you can tell why the changes exist. Because EA went in there, like they did with all the games back in, the early 2000s, and were just middling with these developers and going, well, we need to make this like a masterclass of like video game. Needs to be for the everyone. We need to sell as many copies. Has to have multiplayer. So, and that was kind of the mindset. It was all about these microtransactions. It was all about the multiplayer. It was all about all these extra features, as opposed to just fucking tell a good story. Make a good RPG. Please, for the love of God. Just let these guys do what they are good at doing. So, yeah. It's very sad, because they ended up losing a lot of talented people because of everything that EA had pushed.
Yep.
So, and it's not to say that EA was in the wrong for making those decisions, but don't go buying a company. Don't go buying a company and assume that you should try and shoehorn them into another form of development. If you're buying a company, you're buying that culture, you're buying them for the way that they create things, not to go, okay, so now we have another machine that we can put into our cog, or another cog that we can put into our machine, because that's how it works. So, yeah, it's a bit frustrating. The fuck just happened there? Oh my god, stop watching. Oh, you're still going. Good. Yeah. Anything
But
else you want
other
to say?
than Mass Effect,
Yeah, what else have you been playing?
I purchased Subnautica 2.
And you're playing it without.
I just wanted to see, because the game's going to change by the time we play it.
Well,
And it won't be for a few years.
I've seen what they're planning on doing. So if I'm jumping on with you, I think I'll wait till after, what is it, 1.1 or 1.2? I think they said 1.2 is when they're implementing a lot of the co-op little features for multiplayer. And I'm like, yep, cool. That'll probably be a good time sometime after that, or whenever they add more of the story content. How are you finding it?
Oh, because 1.1 is quality of life, 1.2 is co-op centric update.
Yeah.
It's
You hate it.
amazing how quickly I started the game, and I was like, well, I know what I'm doing. It just comes back to you so quickly when you've played the first one for so many hours, and it just feels like, yes, this game runs immaculately. It's a decent game. I haven't done much of exploring. I say that, but I've unlocked a lot of, because I know the loop. I got a scanner. I can make weapon or the different utilities. I know what I'm looking for. Granted, I am trying to understand where the new materials and resources are. My issues with the first game will be answered in this. I have always thought, and I've said this about other games as well, it feels really lonely when you play Subnautica 1. And this, I am so excited to play with you. I'm not going to play much more because I think I've experienced what I needed to just determine this is it.
Yep.
They've grabbed so much of what worked in 1 and even Below Zero. And this is such a fun game. What they've given you access to, I did some building, and building a base has just improved 1,000 times more.
Okay.
It is going to be so much fun.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to play it with you, and just I just can't wait. It's really fun. It's a good early access game.
So
to start off this strong, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, who was it? Krafton or Nexon that is going to be paying Krafton? They're going to be paying a whopping bill to these developers, because what are they sitting at currently? I think it's like,
I was going to bring this up in the podcast section.
yeah, I mean, we can talk about it later. But I thought that was fucking hilarious. It's like, oh, you sold how much in like 2 hours? Oh, shocker. Shocker. Yeah, no. So I'm just picturing you going, I'm just going to try this. 15 hours later, I'm just trying it. 2 days later, beard. Oh, man, I think I've tried it a bit much, but maybe I just want to see one more feature. Week later, okay, I'm kind of done, and now the Gandalf build is complete, and you're just like, yep, I think I've tried it. I think I'm ready to play this with Jake. What do you mean I'm already at the end of the game?
What you mean I'm seeing the credits roll? Wait,
Yeah,
what?
yeah. The credits roll. You're like, yeah. I think I can. I think Jake and I are gonna have a fun time. It's a bit of a lonely world, but I've gotten a good try of the game. A solid like fucking. Oh, what? 60 hours? Oh, how'd I clock that in? Oh, yikes. So
Shit. No, I'm sitting at 5 hours
yeah, only.
only.
Yeah.
But that has primarily been me fucking around with the different mechanics that they've introduced.
Yep.
There's an active ability and a passive ability. So now they're playing a bit more of an RPG. So if you stand still or don't swim while you're in the water, you breathe slowly so you don't lose as much oxygen.
Oh,
You can now
cool.
dash. So there's different mechanics. So if you want to build underwater, then you would want something where if you're going to stand still, your breath meter is going to go down slower so you
Yeah.
can focus on building. And I love that they thought of something so simple.
Yeah.
So my base currently has like a couple of lockers, a fabricator, so I can start fucking around with building different things. I'm making batteries for my different tools that I've got. And I was like, wow, I have gone so quick in playing what one was. Awesome. This game is just such an upgrade. There's an enhanced machine that can turn your basic resources into the secondary resources.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, awesome. Fucking awesome. One of the tiniest issues I had with the first game was the solar panels on top of my base didn't follow the sun. Now you see them move
Oh,
and they
that's
will
sick.
go and follow the sun. So then when it's nighttime, you'll see them in the position of where the sunset was. And then as soon as the sun rises, you just see them all turning
Yeah.
slowly. And it's like, fuck yes, this is awesome.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
I'm I'm really impressed and I'm really excited for us to play it and
Yeah, it sounds like you're
explore.
enjoying it. That's awesome.
Once 1.2 of early access drops and more of the co-op is out,
Yep.
we are going to have such an awesome time just exploring and going, what the fuck is that? Oh no, oh no, no, no.
It's
So
funny, like, it's amazing how I find this so ironic. People have always bitched and moaned about underwater levels in games. And I get it. There's nothing more stressful than having to worry about, oh my god, I'm running out of oxygen. I gotta quickly grab that switch and I gotta grab that chest of gold and I gotta oh, I'm dead. Fuck. Oh, I gotta repeat the whole thing. I get it. I understand. But isn't it just fucking awesome swimming around and like cave spelunking underwater or just finding
it's the
random little
closest
tombs?
we'll get to flying.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's ironic that a game that is all dedicated underwater that has those features but give you tools to make it easier and last longer underwater. It's like perfect. Perfect.
And
And it's
that
such a successful
moment
game.
that you start the game and you the way they've developed this world where okay, you don't have a lot of breath underwater, but we'll give you some small tools so you
Yeah.
can get
Air,
extra
oxygen.
breath
Yeah,
or air.
oxygen.
This game introduces air bubbles. So there's
Yep.
certain areas in the world that will have these little plants that pop bubbles up, and you swim into them and you get a bit more oxygen. Awesome. So now you're letting me stay in the water at the start of the game for that little bit extra.
Yeah.
It is so this game has impressed me so much already. I As I said, I'm so excited to continue playing it with you and just fucking around and just where we even get creative with the bases that we build. If because I'm sure we're going to build a lot of bases around the map because, hey, maybe this base is going to be really good for getting this specific resource. So let's
Yeah.
build a base here. Let's make every
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. The possibilities.
The there's a mode that they've already introduced, which is creative.
Nice.
So you can just fucking build. I didn't
Yep.
touch it. I didn't want to. I just wanted to see what survival was like.
Yep.
I'm just so impressed with how this game has started in its life. And it is so impressive because holy shit, Unknown Worlds, awesome. They built on the first and 1.5 and just gone, yep, we know how to do this. Here you go. I haven't explored all the biomes. I've explored maybe 2 in the 5 hours that I played.
How many are there?
At the moment, 4.
That's not
And
bad for an early access
and
game. That's huge.
I saw someone play the game, and in this game, there's this huge coral tree that you see above water. And you go towards it, and the game's like, you've reached what you can't do. You can't build here. It's in early access. This game will have further development. You can't build, but good luck. And you can keep going. I haven't been there. I don't want to. I don't want to see it. I've explored the starting area and a surrounding area. And I'm like, there's so much to do here. I can't go further because the game's just like, oh, look at this cave. Well, have fun exploring it. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, awesome. So I'm looking forward to this adventure. I'm really looking forward to it.
Nice.
My want of a multiplayer Subnautica has been fully encapsulated, and I am so excited. They
Awesome.
thought multiplayer and single player first, and it's so rare for them or a game to think like that. And No Rest for the Wicked fucking started out as a single player, and they were like, nah, now we're thinking of both. And it's like, fuck yes, this is what we want. Come on, lads. So, yeah, I've been playing that.
Nice.
I'm just saying what
Nice.
else I've played. I've done more of Star Wars Outlaws as well.
How's that going?
I finished a mission in the Imperial star base, I think.
Yep.
So out in space, I had to collect something. Turns out it was an alien head in a jar. But it was funny. I retried that mission just before getting there multiple times because I wanted to do it in perfect stealth. And every time I fucked up, I was like, nah, I'm going to just restart this. So let them kill me. Let's do this again. I want to play with this stealth mechanic to what they updated. I ended up doing it immaculately. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm having a really fun time with playing that.
Good.
I think I might have issues with it later on because my PC crashed. Not my PC. My game crashed when I did. So I finished playing Sabak, and I was like, awesome. Oh, there's a mission in the Crimson. Oh my gosh, what are they called? Crimson Dawn sector of the planet. So I'll go there, and as soon as I reach the guy to talk to him, so I can get a splicer or something. And I was talking, and the game crashed, and I was like, "Oh no, okay, this is going to happen a lot." And I'm playing the game on the lowest settings. Still beautiful. The game is stunning, even at lowest. But I think my PC was like, I need to have a rest. So I was like, okay, awesome. But I'm really enjoying it. So I'm going through that. And just before the stream, because I saw there was an update a couple of days ago, I played a match of Far Far West.
Mm-hmm.
And I started my mission about 6:35 or so.
Yep.
And I didn't finish until like I got on a call with you. And I was like, oh shit, I could easily play this even more. It is this update, I'm so impressed. They've upped the experience because they don't want you to feel like it's too grindy. They've bumped up the experience so your primary weapon gets 1.5 times of experience. Your secondary gets 2 times. Your spells have a reduced cooldown.
Yep.
I love it. My guns, as soon as I finished the mission, when I jumped in a call with you, everything is like now in double digits. And I was like, oh, awesome. This is very impressive. Also, another game I'm really excited to play with you.
Mm. Oh, this one? Yeah.
Yeah, just these co-op is coming back. And I'm so fucking happy. This
I
is
know.
yes, we're winning, lads. We're winning. So I'm very excited. Yes. So yeah, those are the games that I've been playing. I haven't even touched my well, I lie. I have played like a couple of levels of Tomb Raider 3 because I just wanted to go back and like I just something that I can switch my mind off. Very like it takes me 5 minutes to do a mission in Tomb Raider now. So
Yep.
yeah. But what have you been playing?
Not much. I have been continuing. Obviously, on my stream, I did the next chapter for Crimson Desert, which, man, that some games just need to stick to their lanes. The detective stuff is just fucking shit. There was a mission that I had to do, and it's like the early part of the actual chapter where you're in the town. You need to get in contact with a specific general that's, got his little, like, base of operations downstairs, but you need to get past a guard. So you go up to the guard, you talk to him. That kind of teaches you, all right, well, now you need to go and eavesdrop. So you go and you eavesdrop, a couple of random people, and that whole process is long because they don't just talk normally through the dialogue. It's like, hey, so have you heard about this? And then there's a pause, about 2 or 3 seconds. Yeah, so I heard that so-and-so is doing this. Another pause. Yeah, so what do you think of that, thing over there? Pause. And they'll do this about 3 or 4 times before they give you the tick. You then go back to the general. You go through the dialogue where you have to lie. And it's like, and like none of the actual NPCs that you're eavesdropping are necessarily giving you the information. So you're just kind of guessworking most of it. But you essentially have to do this 3 times. It's not like the game goes, okay, we need you to eavesdrop and get all the information. No. You go to the guard, you talk to him, you eavesdrop once, then you go back to the guard, you continue the line of dialogue. Then because you don't have all the information, you go and eavesdrop on another group. Come back, continue the line of dialogue because it's like you're continuing the conversation to realize, oh, I'm missing one more vital piece of information to get past this guard. Go and eavesdrop again, come back. Yeah, so I'm from, and like when you complete it all, you're like, all right, so this is meant to feel like I am getting information about who I am, who I'm about to see, for me to then prove to the guard that, yeah, so I'm this so-and-so and I want to speak to this person. Oh, if you know his name, then you must know who he is. Awesome, you can come in now. Why the fuck did you make me do this in such a roundabout way that makes no fucking sense in real world scenarios? It's fucking bullshit.
Game logic.
Yeah, but then like the rest of the game is fine because you get back into the action of it and like the set pieces and the storytelling. I'm like, okay, the rest of this is going okay. It's got good pacing. It's got good set pieces that you're kind of going through. Interesting boss battles. Tough, but interesting. So yeah, it's a weird fucking mixed bag. But I must admit, I think I'm just done with it. I'm probably gonna try and go through the story stuff as quickly through the stream as possible and then just put the game down, because honestly there's nothing interesting outside of the main campaign that is pulling me in where I go, I feel the need to actually go and level up the character or find all the gear. Like this is kind of the weird thing where everything that you do is very I don't want to say surface level. I don't feel like there's a real uniqueness to the weapons. Because once you kind of start when you realize that when you're picking up one sword versus another sword, they all act the same way. The differences are the minor little tweaks, which there's not much, because majority of the swords all kind of have the base level stat. Occasionally you might find swords that might have a better crit versus another, or a weapon that has a slightly better crit. And then what you're doing is you're leveling up those base stats, and then on top of that, depending on the weapon, you typically want a weapon that's got at least 5 or 6 of the gem slots. That's when you start customizing the weapon and min-maxing it, because you're using the gems to strengthen its capability in combat, or give you abilities that you can then use in combat. That's it. But otherwise, everything is purely cosmetic. And I just find a lot of that to be very shallow unless you just want that level of freedom and flexibility. But it means that everything I'm picking up is kind of, well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really add any real value other than, does this look cool? And at least with the Souls games, there is some unique kind of movesets to the attack, so they actually feel more unique.
He's starting soon.
No, I'm fucking up my stream. So it's weird. It's such a weird game, but it is a cool concept. They've clearly spent a lot of time. There's a lot in it, but it's too much. And I don't think that they refined the things that they needed to really make it engaging. But I will say, for someone who wants a lot of breadth in a video game and a lot of stuff to do, and you're happy with the kind of basic melange of gameplay that it offers, I think it's great. I think it's wonderful value for content. I'm never going to complain about the fact that it offers so much to do that you can just chip away an hour a night kind of and do random shit, whether it's a puzzle, whether it's take over a town or a village or whatever it is, a bandit camp, all sorts of activities. But there's nothing for any, like, I'm not going to say real gameplay, but someone who's more invested in storytelling, someone who's more invested in deeper mechanics, not so much.
Yeah.
It is a step above what you get from a Dynasty Warrior, as far as combat, as far as exploration, as far as world building. So if you want something better than a Dynasty Warrior in a medieval setting, I think this is your game. My throat. All sorts of fun. No, Lies of P is the other thing that I've been playing, which I'm still kind of chipping away at. What did I get up to? I think it was like the...
Sorry, Lies of P?
Not Lies of P, sorry. Mouse PI. Thank you for the correction.
I was like,
Mouse
you
PI.
would not touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Oh, but we will probably refer back to that later, because there's some fun news.
Sure will.
About that. But the Mouse PI.
Yep.
Continuing with the story, I'm really invested in the mystery of it. I really want to know where it's going. The last mission I did was in, I think it's like the bayou, when you're in the swamps.
Hmm.
And what
Yep.
was fun about that were the two little references that they threw in. When you get to the boat and you get something is whistling the fucking Steamboat Willie theme song, and it's like,
Hmm.
and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And then not far from that, when you jump over behind the boat, you kind of use the little lift to kind of get on top of the platform on the tree, and you get onto the main road. If you go backwards away from the factory, up the road to the left, there's like 3 guys around the campfire with a sword. So a nice little Dark Souls reference there, which I was like, "Aw, that's really sweet. I love that."
The game does
So
a really good job with their little Easter eggs and references.
yeah, it is very heartfelt. I did everything I needed to with the cards, as I think I explained to you. So I finally got
Yep.
the laser weapon, which honestly I don't really use much. I tend to kind of it's interesting. I love switching between the weapons, and my two favorites by far are probably the Tommy gun and the sludger that just like acid washes them.
Thank you. Yes. They're the best.
Because
I
you just
love the
you get
acid
a
gun.
man, you get a bunch of them, and you just go plonk, 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 and you just watch all of them. Apart from the brutes, like the guys that want to chase you around, they're the only ones that I have to shoot twice. But everyone else, it's once, and they
But
just
if
burn. I'm
you're
like, that's
using the
amazing.
special ability for the acid gun, it does the shockwave special. So you lob
See,
it, and then it builds up, and then you get a wide range of everyone.
see, I didn't even. This is the funny thing. I have not really used the specials. I should. I keep forgetting to because I'm happy just like going around, running around, and shooting these guys with the regular attack, not the alternate attack. So yeah, it's great. It's fucking fun.
It really is such a beautiful game, and I'm so happy for the studio. It just a game that feels like a fucking video game,
Mm-hmm.
and it just awesome. They stuck to their guns. It just plays wonderfully. I knew you would enjoy it as well. I
Yeah,
knew.
yeah. I'm just amazed at how much like it's what I think one of your streamers was saying. There is so much content. I think I'm only about halfway, and it's like, oh, there's still more fucking shit, more levels. Because I've gone and driven
Mhm.
around to all the ones that still have the padlock on it, and I'm like, 1, 2, 3, 4. How is there still more? How much more? What the fuck? It's just yeah.
Yeah.
The level design is really cool. Like going through the Hollywood studio was fun. This level was really cool. There's what else did I do? There was one that I did before that. That was like, was it the haunted? I think it was like the haunted area that I was going through. Unless that's what I'm doing now.
Was
Anyway,
it
there's
the village?
no. So I think
Because
that's yeah. It's the village that I'm doing now. The
okay,
last one I did was the bayou, which I completed.
yep.
Yeah, I'm really smitten with the game. It is quite impressive how much, even just in some of the level designs and some of the bosses. It's not always like it is a very basic shooter. You're typically fighting the same
Mm,
roster of enemies, but I
yep.
think what it does in the space and in the areas and the storytelling, it pulls you along really well. It's the most. I'm not the biggest boomer shooter guy, unless there's good level design, and this game pulls me in. It I think strikes a right balance as a boomer shooter where I go, this is actually mentally engaging and fun to play. So yeah, kudos to them. Kudos to them.
Absolutely.
The other game I have been playing that I'm kind of wanting to discuss later as potentially a main topic is Mixtape, which I've still got another 40 minutes, if that, of gameplay. I'm near the end, but
Interesting.
I've got enough of an opinion about it based on what people's contention. And it's funny because I don't know whether to say it now. I've seen the reviews, and I think when I saw all the 10s, I was like, I want to play this because I don't think it's as 10 as everyone's making it out to be. And then I
Mhm.
watched someone else's opinion, one guy that I watch, which is Legendary Drops, break it down. And he made some interesting points. And then there was a couple of things that something just struck me where I'm like, you're being really negative about this in a way that I don't necessarily agree. And now that I've played it, I've started thinking back to other games that have had just as much praise. And
Mhm.
I'm like, well, why are you guys bitching on this game for the price when there are other games that, came out with the same time frame with the same price? Anyway, we'll discuss that later because I think that's an
Yeah.
interesting topic in itself. But it's fine. Like, it's a fine game. No issues. I'll speak more about it later, but
Mhm.
what I'm playing of it, I don't see an issue with it as a game.
Okay.
I think it's fine.
Yeah.
It's a really cool story. It's not a 10 by any means as far as what I'm concerned, what I typically would like, but
I
I
was going
think
to
it's,
ask you where you would put it, and I feel like you have it at a 7 or an 8.
yeah, it's about 7.5 to 8. Yeah.
Yep, I
Like,
thought so.
I'll be honest that when it started, I was like, there was an emotional part that I had. And then as the game went on, I was like, okay, I like what you're doing with this. I think it's a cool, it has that 80s vibe of that, Breakfast Club kind of storytelling, but it doesn't quite get into the nitty gritty. I think it tries. I think there are certain things that it does really well, but I think it's more to do with the main character. She's interesting. There are things about her that are fascinating, and I think it's a really cool look into music. Like, for someone who's really experienced with music for back in the day, that it's a cool lens to look at that story through.
Mhm.
But it unfortunately also makes her a little bit overly pretentious in a way that I kind of go, I don't vibe with you too much. I vibe with the other two characters in an interesting way, even though one of them's a little bit, I think you could have worked on him a bit more. But yeah, it's not bad. But I'll talk more about it later.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's about it for me.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's a What is the objective for BG3 today? Well,
Indeed.
I would assume we're going to start clearing out some of the missions that we have, obviously. Be it doing Astarion and Shadowheart's quest. And I'm thinking if we're going to take down Gortash and then Orin, I definitely think we need to do the Steel Watch Foundry because I think they're going to be an absolute nightmare to deal with. Both quests are amazing.
Well,
Now,
let's get straight into it.
one thing that I will say is I played some of my Dirge gameplay.
Mm.
And holy shit, the story just changes. Uh
Oh, no, no, no. Don't open that. Don't. No, don't. Oh, my God. Never mind.
what did you open?
I opened up Elden Ring, not fucking Baldur's Gate. Which is like
Yeah,
right
let's
above.
play Elden
No!
Ring.
No! We are fucking finishing Baldur's Gate. Needs to be done. So it changes the story that much.
I guess I can spoil it. So there was so I'm playing with the mod where everyone's in my team. And I am up to the hag. So I've like spoken to Ethel. I haven't gone into the house, but I spoke to the hunter And because Astarion's in the team, there was an interesting conversation that I didn't see when we played,
Naturally.
where because he's a vampire, the hunter's like, yes, I'm hunting for a vampire spawn. And Astarion suddenly all like really tense, ready to pounce. And I'm like, Astarion, you need to relax. Like, it's all good. Hey, yeah, like, oh, you're hunting a vampire spawn. Cool. And then I fought a frog and I was like, oh, I really need to long rest because I have fuck all in my spells and all this bullshit. And so, long rest and fucking Alfira, the tiefling chick from the Grove, is like, I want to join your party. Let's hang out. And I'm like, sure, let's hang out. Well, during the night, her corpse is on the floor. And my hands are all bloody. And she's dead. And I'm like, oh my God, I killed her. What the fuck? I leveled her up. I gave her stats. I was like, yep, awesome. Welcome to the team. Didn't know you were part of it. Awesome. And Impulsive was like, yeah, I hid the
crazy.
body. And I'm like, oh, I chose to wash my hands. Everyone woke up and reacted to seeing a dead body of fucking Alfira. And I was like, yeah, that's crazy. What happened?
Oh my God.
It is so cool. It's just, I really wish that we had my character as the Dirge for this playthrough, because you would have loved some of these moments of seeing a character fighting internally of good and bad, and almost having these decisions of, oh, I could murder someone in this situation. And in our playthrough, not even batting an eye. It's so fucking cool. I am so impressed that this character was, what, 1.4, 1.3 update, where we've given you a whole new character that you can play as. And it's so cool. Really fun. Really fun. So
Nice.
I'm enjoying that.
All right, I want to start with Mixtape. Just because,
Yes.
like,
tell
okay,
me.
I haven't gotten into the deeper crux of the issues that people are having with this game. I'll tell you my thoughts, since I've played about 2 and a bit hours of it. It is a perfectly fine, suitable game. It's a fun little story about 3 teenagers, one of which is kind of, obsessed with music production and wants to get into an industry where she will be in charge of music organization. So the whole story follows her and her friends as they spend their last day together, before she's obviously flying to New York, I think, to go spend some time with her sister and go see this famous producer type chick. So you kind of get into her mindset and how she essentially has a song for every single part of life, because she just categorizes moments, feelings, sensations, experiences, people's behavior and their ambiance in relation to a song of some sort. And there's some cool little historical little facts in there that the writers have popped in, things that I didn't even know in relation to movie music soundtracks as well. So there's a nice breadth of storytelling with a intriguing use of camera work interspersed with the gameplay as well. Now, obviously this game has been getting tens across all of the main media streams, which All right, fair enough. It's not necessarily what I agree with. And I think this is kind of where the contention starts because it seems like a lot of people's opinions of the game is, as far as your mainstream audience, seems to be on the negative side because, as far as they're concerned, why does this game get a 10
Mm.
when it's not technically meriting a 10 in people's views? And that's fine. But what I find so fucking infuriating about human beings is, when did we start associating a whole review, like, so a single review of a single person's opinion within IGN or GameSpot, sorry, or any of these review sites,
hmm
as the encompassing opinion of the site itself?
It's because of what I think a large factor of growing up with the games industry and developing this, well, reviewers have the end all say about something. I'll never forget the reviews for Pokemon Sapphire and Ruby, and IGN said 7.8, too much water. Yeah, that's the fucking point. What, Sun and Moon doesn't have too much water? It's a fucking archipelago. It's Hawaii. But you rated that higher? It I've had this issue with reviewers where I don't take in as much for a review anymore. It's not a it's it's not objective
Mm.
enough, and it's more personal, and it's like Crimson Desert, for example. When that was reviewed, it reviewed really low because that game is fucking huge. And I guarantee you, the reviewers did not have enough time to play the full game to give a proper review of it.
Correct.
And everyone who is a consumer does have time to play it and go through it. It might not be to the level of someone who's working in the industry because that's what they're doing, but you've got people who are playing a game for maybe 8 to 10 hours. Okay, I need to write a review because the next game we need to review is up. So, my experience of this game was not as good. It doesn't make sense. Well, yeah, probably because you're playing it in a way that it's not meant to be played. These reviewers are not giving a fair chance for a game and having a proper rundown. I quite like fuck. What's the YouTube channel that break down literally everything? Um Not Dimension 20, fucking hell. Give me 2 seconds.
But
Uh,
I just find it funny that you've got, like,
Digital
this is
Foundry.
oh yeah, no, that's fair.
I like
So,
how they do it because they look at a game going, okay, how does it perform? What is the music like? Okay, what is the story? They break it down in such a good way that I don't feel that it's objective for their personal opinions. They'll add a personal opinion throughout, but they don't make it the whole review of the experience as to, well, I didn't have a good time, so I'm going to put it at a lower score. It's like, but it could be a really good fucking game.
yeah,
But
but
what
I
were you
think,
saying? Sorry.
no. See, it's more the fact that we for, we forget that it's individual people that are going through these games. Now, it would be in an ideal world, right? It would be fucking amazing if, say, every single person within the IGN staff or a PSX or any one of these outlets
Mhm.
would go, they would all play the exact same game, they'd all come together, do their little meeting, and then decide on a score. That's not how that works. They rely on individual people with their own specific tastes and interests to do the review. So, is it a little biased? Sure, but also it's in the favor of the game itself. So I'm sure they wouldn't have gotten someone who prefers strategy games to review something like Mixtape. They would have gotten someone that was actually interested, actually invested. So it already gives the potential of the score a bump up. But you still need to take into account who's doing the review and see whether
True,
they are
but
someone that you can
sometimes it
connect with
doesn't
or
work like
not.
that. There have been times where I've read a review and it was from someone who didn't particularly like that style of game.
True.
I
It does happen.
personally like reading I guess this is pretty toxic, but I like reading Steam reviews. I like reading Reddit comments on a game because I'm getting what I feel is a very raw interpretation of the game. Sure, are there trolls and people that are just writing reviews for the sake of, oh, this game is a walking simulator. Oh, this is just fluff, you know? Sure, I cycle through that shit. I get it. There's so many people on this planet. I fucking get it. But I would rather take someone who is playing the game rather than a reviewer's point of view.
Hmm.
I will watch a reviewer for the understanding of how the game runs, how the game functions with its mechanics, to get an understanding of, oh, this game introduces this particular mechanic as its main core loop. Perfect. Let me understand what the game is. I just don't think we need to rely so heavily on journalists who, sure, most of the time it is someone who enjoys that particular style of game. So they're going to have a fair review of it. But then again, you've got biased opinions where
Correct.
the reviewer will say, oh, well, this game really tickles all my fancies in what I want to play in a game. So I'll give it a 9 out of 10. But is it actually deserving of a 9 out of 10 when you're giving this to a mass group of consumers? Or is it your 9 out of 10?
But that can be said about any title, right? You walk into a Nintendo game and you're automatically going to have a bias that's in favor of the company. Because for the most part, you've had a pretty positive run. I mean, I've heard the comments out of you and even someone like Jason, who, yeah, you have your criticisms, but I know that you would still rate a Pokemon game slightly higher than what it probably would. And if it was any other game, you'd be
Mm,
harsher on it. And that's fine.
I,
We just need to
to a
be
degree,
aware. Yeah.
like I feel like I can decom decompartmentalize
Mm.
a Pokemon game. Like I don't think Sun or oh my gosh, Sword or Shield is as good. It does some things great, but Scarlet and Violet I don't think is near what I think is a great Pokemon game. I can easily say that's a 7. It's a good game. It's something that, sure, it's playable. But when I look at, say, Pokemon Legends, that is a nice branching path for a Pokemon game that can be open to the possibilities that we can see. So I would rate that as an 8. It's not a perfect game, but it introduces something that is pushing a company to at least experiment, which, sure, has it taken too long to do? 100%.
Mm.
We could have gotten a survival game years ago. You're not wrong in my personal opinions on how a Nintendo game would be in my head if I rated it, but I'm not a reviewer giving my opinions to thousands of people, breaking it down.
Not
Sure,
yet.
this platform,
But if you
not
were to
yet.
grow the platform and people were listening to you, you'd be giving your opinion and your advice on various products. And you have done
In
with us
100%.
many times.
Absolutely.
And I
But
mean,
I'm not reviewing a game. I'm talking. One thing that I think we do a lot more is speak truth about our experiences with the game rather than looking at, well, we got the game a week prior to launch. I can write about it. No, I'm getting these games either as they launch or several months later or even years later. Like, look at me playing Mass Effect
yeah,
Trilogy.
yeah.
It's an experience that I would rather talk about than breaking it down as a reviewer. Because I think speaking of experience is far more engaging, in my opinion, than it is to have a journalistic point of view of it.
Mm.
Do I have the lingo? Probably not. Is it something I should work on? 100%. I
Yeah.
should be speaking more and utilizing what I've learned in my degree to break down the games that I'm playing. I'm not doing that as much. But you're not to say that your point is wrong. I think there is a an avenue of the thought process of, well, my experience with, for example, Subnautica 2. I'm loving the game. It's great. Am I going to be a little biased because I really enjoyed the first one after reluctantly buying it? Yes, because I enjoyed that style of game. And because it's got a mechanic that I have wanted in a fucking video game for so long,
Mm.
I will have that bias because that personal experience for me is I get to play it with someone that who will love playing video games just as much as me. But there is something to say when it comes to an indie game. Why are we not allowing for indie games to express themselves in such a fun way? I personally don't think that Mixtape is a perfect game. It might be a really good experience, and I hate giving numbers to a game.
And this is the contention that I have, right? Where people are playing this and they're instantly going, "Oh, it's not a game. There's no fail states." And I'm like, "Okay, no failed states. Right. All right. Let's look at games that don't have a failed state, right? So,
Mhm.
you've got games going back as old as fucking Day of the Tentacle or fucking um Maniac Mansion had a failed state.
Mhm.
Monkey
You didn't wanna
Island.
get caught?
But then you've got more newer stuff like Gone Home, Mouthwashing, What Remains of Edith Finch, Everybody Has Gone to the Rapture. There's plenty of games games, because again, it's the terminology, and this is where it gets really fucking shady, where they don't have a fail state. And that's fine. That's why they're an interactive media. It's an experience that you get to play. You pick up a controller, you're interacting with the world, and you're doing various little mini games. Now, are you going to get some sort of achievement by the end of this? Are you fighting monsters? No, but that's not the experience. These storytellers have tried to tell a story about a bunch of teenagers living the last day of their kind of high school life before they go off to
Mhm.
college. That's all it is. And they found what they consider the most unique way that a player can interact and feel like they are connecting with the characters in the same engaging way that they are living these memories. Because that's all it is. You're just you're experiencing various memories while you're going through this final day to then experience the day itself at the same time. So it's fine. It's a great little story with cool little characters with an interesting world. And I don't see the issue with the fact that they want to call it a game. Because if we're going to get pedantic about calling something a game, let's actually properly define what a game is. And this is something that Jesse Shell tried to fucking define in one of his gaming books that he made years
Mm.
back. I remember reading for like before I was about to start a fucking college degree or university degree in game design. But he talks about like the whole definition of a game is so broad and so vague that it can be anything. Because a game
100%.
a game by definition is you have an objective that you have to complete. And the objective might be you versus someone, you versus an entity, or you versus another player. But what is the objective? What are you doing? And so there's all these various little objectives in this game that you are completing, as there are in other ones. Even if the objective is literally walk from point A to point B. That is in itself an objective. Is it fulfilling? Probably not, but that depends on what your engagement is with the story that's told from A to B. And then
I
it's
mean,
really
no
up
one
to,
batted an eye when uh, Heavy Rain.
yeah,
You know, it's the same thing. And then you had a company that made Until Dawn,
yep,
which really pushed that cinematic experience.
yep,
It's the same thing. It's a video game. And you're 100% right.
yep,
Because this even goes back to chess. Your objective is to take out the opponent's king.
mm-hmm,
That is your win state. It's I always find video games to be something, or any game that is something that's interactive, be
yep,
it socially, vocally, mentally. It's something that you are interacting with in some form or fashion. And you're right. It is, well, your reference of Jesse Shell, it is something that has an objective. And you can make anything a video game, or a game. I should stop saying video game because it relates to anything. You can make your day to day a game.
mm-hmm,
My objective today is shower, brush
yep,
my teeth,
yep,
feed the dog, get ready for work,
yep.
go to work.
And then you can rate all of those based on your own personal score and add a score up and see how many you get by the end of the day and then tally it up. There you go. You've just created your own internal game with your own logic.
Mhm.
It's that simple. And what really boggles my mind, and this is something that when I was about to do game design university years ago, this is one of the things that the teacher had brought up. And he made an interesting point that at the time I don't think I fully appreciated. But in this instance, it just rings true, where there are decisions. Every one of these games that we play, for the most part, are limited options. Now, they might give you various options, but at the end of the day, you're pretty much going from A to B. And there might be, depending on the game, various avenues that you've got freedom and flexibility in what you can do. And the more it gives you, the more fun and the more engaged you are as a player, because you feel like you've got urgency, you've got choice, you've got your own independence. But
agency.
Yeah, agency.
Absolutely.
Thank you. But
That's all right.
that's not always, that's all right. But that's not always the case. And sometimes you might play a game that doesn't give you that agency, or you don't like the actions that are put in front of you. And he said this about shooting games in general, where, I play a lot of these games, and the moment the game starts and it's telling me to go off and start killing stuff, I'm like, well, I don't want to. So my only option is to not play. And I looked at that as like a really pretentious thing, but in itself, it's like this, well, yeah, he's not engaged with that specific style of entertainment or that particular game. Therefore, I don't have an option other than to engage in this activity. So how is this experience any different? They are telling you to follow a story. You either choose to engage with it or not. If you don't like it, don't buy it. If you're not a fan of it, not a big deal. And here's my other argument. The game currently, and this is Australian pricing, so obviously it varies from region to region. At the moment, it's $26.50 on sale. Normally, it's $30 for a 3-hour campaign. I don't know why that's a big deal when we go and spend $20 or $30 on a movie ticket for like 2 hours. Or people will pay $20 a month for a subscription service, and if they binge through shit, awesome, they get their value out of it. If they don't, well, if you only subscribe to watch one thing, that's all the value you're going to get. Which at that point, it's subjective. Like, what you choose to do with your money is up to you. But why are we bitching about this when Gone Home was $21.95 for the same amount of time spent playing the game? Day of the Tentacle, yes, first time round, it might take you 6 to 8 hours. But when you know the puzzles, and I've replayed that game many times, it's about a 3-hour campaign. Maybe 4 if you're pushing it. That's $21.50. Mouthwashing. You literally do nothing. There's a couple of moments where there might be a failed state, but it's inconsequential. For you to complete the game, you still need to get through something. There's no actual real fail states. That's $18.95 for 2 to 3 hours. What Remains of Edith Finch, a beautiful fucking story, a wonderful little game. Nothing happens. You don't actually really do much. There's no fail state in that. That's $29.95. There are plenty of these little independent experiences that are just meant to be experienced. They're not the game in a traditional sense where you have a score or you have enemies to fight or you're playing with another player and you're building stuff and then working towards defeating the grand boss at the very end. Different type of game, different strokes for different folks. If you don't engage in this type of content, that's fine. But don't bag it because you don't connect with it or you don't like it or you think it's a waste of time. They've spent a lot of hard work and effort creating the assets, the animations, the voice work, the writing. Is it perfect? Fuck no. It's still a beautiful little experience. And I think for the price, I think it's well worth it. If you're someone who's after you want to play something that strikes that similar Breakfast Club or I'm trying to think of other fucking films that are similar in that ilk, where it's that teenage, we're about to go to college. That the American Pies, probably not that raunchy.
16 Candles,
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Breakfast
Um,
Club.
Girl Next Door,
You've
whatever it may be. Like all of these
Yeah,
like teenage
it's a
dramas.
it's a
If
coming
you
of age story.
Yes, yeah, pretty much.
And there's something to be said about why are we rejecting the idea of a development team who is introducing the market with something that's pretty unique. There's
Yep,
not a lot of games that have that stop motion look to it, even though in the last few years we've had maybe 3 or 4 that I can think
something like that.
off
Yeah.
the top of my head. Why are we not allowing this style of game to be introduced? And you're right, it's not for everyone. I don't expect someone who's playing Call of Duty or Fortnite to be into a game like this.
No.
But it's a company that indie games need to allow to introduce us to different types of genres, into a different type of storytelling that is refreshing to see, because the amount of AAA games that are coming out, and it is so tiring to have how many extraction shooters, how many multiplayer games. It's nice to just have a game that is, I didn't realize, such a fairly priced game.
Mm.
For
Yeah.
3 hours, $10 an hour?
Yeah.
Perfect. And you're right. People who are spending a subscription on a streaming service, or I don't know, PlayStation Online or the Xbox Game Pass, perfect. This game is going to take a lot of your time, but that experience that you have with this game is going to be unique to you. And you're right again, it's not for everyone. So why engage with it? But
I
you
find it.
do want a freedom of, uh, gosh, a freedom of speech, so to speak, where, okay, I don't think that this is anything below an average game. When people have reviewed Breath of the Wild as an 11, how is
Yeah.
it beyond perfect? There's no such thing that is beyond perfect, let alone
No,
perfect.
and honestly, for me, like I love Breath of the Wild, but we both talked about this. It's a great first concept. It's the same issue that I have with Crimson Desert, where I go, this is an 8, an 8.5. Could you stretch it to a 9? Sure. But it's not a 10 because there's so much that's missing from the experience. And you just end up having a really large world for the sake of being large. Does it add any more value because it's that large? Not really. You could have made it half the size and, shrunk the distance traveled, which would have saved my
Mhm.
time. But
Yep.
of course, yeah, no, you want to make it feel grand and massive. And it's like, yeah, but at what expense? Now look at all the things that have had to be shallowed out due to the distance traveled. I mean, this is the same issue that most people have with Ubisoft nowadays. And we've spoken about this countless times. They don't make games that are fun and engaging from a deeper sense. They make stuff that is just good enough and we can regurgitate it hundreds of times and people will buy it because look how big the
Mhm.
world is. Look how much content we've given you. So for people that are just after value, it's like going shopping and just buying like the value fucking toilet paper. Yeah, you get a lot for your money, but all you're doing is fucking wiping your ass with it. But when you want a proper steak or you want like something of substantial quality, you're going to pay premium and you're going to feel the value because it's going to give you what you need. I think people also forget the fact that this isn't like a movie where you're just sitting back and watching. You're actually interacting with it. And though it just seems like it's like people disregard the fact that, oh, well, it's just like a video game. Like, what does it matter? It should be cheaper if it's this kind of experience. It's like, why? It still took, a handful of people 4 to 5 years to make versus the movie where a lot of the times they can probably shit out a movie in about 12 months. The longest part for a movie is usually getting the script to be approved and then finding the cast. And once everything gets going, it's a 6 to 12 month process. That's it. There's your production. You're done in a year, maybe 2 at most.
I don't think people realize how much goes into making a video game. And one fun fact, one of the hardest things is doors.
Yeah.
People take things for granted, and looking at this game, just seeing how everything is just communicating in the world, the footsteps need to match when they're walking. When I played Mass Effect 1, I found a really funny little animation where if I just tilted the left stick to make Shepard walk, his walking was really funny
Yeah.
because the animation was, oh, now he's walking really fast, but he's kind of gliding.
Yep.
That alone, the amount of work that goes into it, the music that goes into a game, making sure that the triggers are all connected right. So when, oh, okay, once I enter this area of the game, I need to make sure that this plays. I've made video games. It's hard work. My capstone project was during COVID. That was hard work.
Yeah.
We made a paper plane that flew around an accurate Melbourne city. It's insane. I look at these games, I know I have issues with early access, but Subnautica 2, incredible world already. Just looking at all of the things that are happening because they've now designed for the fauna in the world to communicate with each other. So there will be fish hunting other fish. They will mate. It's a lot of fucking work.
Yeah.
When you play Far Far West, you have so much to think about. It's so much. And that appreciation is taken for granted.
Oh, absolutely.
Do I think a game needs to take 5 to 10 years to make? Fuck no. No. That's just bullshit, in my opinion. But games are not quick to make. Sure, you can make a game in 6 months. Will it be the best?
Well, and
Probably not.
that's the interesting thing is people forget that it does take such a long amount of time. You can get something basic in 6 months. It ain't gonna
Mhm.
look fucking pretty because you'll be spending so much time just mechanically. Unless you are the kind of person that you just go, all right, we're just gonna work on art assets. But then what do you do with the art assets? Well, now you got to make them animate. You got to make it all connect. And as you said, there are so many variables, whether it is what are you moving through the environment? Which part of the environment is going to be interactable? Is it all interactable? How is it interactable? Am I having a character walk up a hill? What's the incline or the decline of the hill. So do I need to change the animation for if they're going down the hill or up the hill? Or do I just keep the animation, which means now the feet don't quite match the same way? There's just so many fucking things to consider. On top of the fact that you hope to God that when you're putting it all together and you press play, that you don't get the game suddenly crash because you've forgotten to put in one piece of code that didn't take into consideration some physics
Hmm.
that you had in the game. There's like this beautiful sequence in this where all you're doing, the character is having this emotional moment because she's seen her friend spend time with another chick that she's not a fan of. And so she puts on the headphones, everything goes black and white, she's got the song playing, and all you're doing is you're just controlling her body left and right, and you've got all the physics of like you can literally have her as she's moving backwards through the world and then floating up into the sky and whatnot. You can have her hitting jars, you can have her hitting boxes, you can have her hitting all sorts of stuff. And there's a bit where she goes through a restaurant and you can hit all the tables, and it's like that scene in what's it called? Nolan's film Inception, where you're just watching all the chaos unfold as everything's just exploding. And it was breathtaking. It was a cool little sequence. And I had full control over that. They could have just as easily gone, no, we're going to make this a cutscene and you're just going to watch. But I was the one engaging. And you still have to do some level of coding and make sure that the character is going to complete that sequence and not suddenly just disappear or do something random and fuck up. So, yeah, I think people forget that unlike a movie, that, yeah, movies absolutely take just as much time, just as much manpower, just as much effort. But you're still, at the end of the day, you're kind of just putting all the pieces in order and then cutting where you need to or editing, certain things. The hardest part with movies nowadays is going to be the CGI and maybe sound, because sound's obviously always hard to capture. Whereas a video game, all the coding that you have to, follow the structure and follow the rules, and then God forbid something just doesn't read the correct way, or God forbid you're trying to run it on a very specific piece of hardware. There's even more at stake with a game and more things that could go wrong. And all you're paying is $30 for a fun little 3-hour little teen drama. It boggles my mind.
I still don't think it's a perfect game.
Oh, no. I mean, again,
But
I haven't finished it,
it's
but I think it's it for what it is. I think it's fine. And the other thing I also take into consideration is we're the type of gamers that we like playing video games. We like being challenged to a degree. Because everyone's got their own levels of what, they consider challenging. Also, I'm just noticing something, but I don't know if that's a light or if that's the actual carpet. It looks weird. Anyway, but yeah, that was a light. That was weird. It's sometimes a certain experience like this is for a very different type of person. My mom might get a kick out of something like this. Like, she enjoyed Flower. Flower is a perfect example of the fact that all you're doing is just wagging your controller left and right and guiding a bunch of flowers.
Yep.
Whoa. Real, just mind-bendingly, super. And yet it's engaging. And especially for someone like my mom, who does now struggle with some, joint issues in her thumb. She can't hold a controller the way we do. She's not used to playing with those. So for her, having something that she can just lightly hold and then guide just using left and right, perfect. You are engaging a different type of person, and you've got an audience. You've expanded the audience and reaching people that might not necessarily play video games on a traditional level, and they can be engaged not just in the basic mechanics that are not don't offer a level of stress. They don't offer any real kind of threats. It's just enjoy the story, go on your journey, and then have a fun time. And you're done in 3 hours. This is the thing that boggles my mind. Sometimes you can have a really strong, and I honestly, especially after something like Mouth Watching and What Remains of Edith Finch, they're like two games that they're 3 hours. Every single part of that means something. It doesn't feel wasted, as opposed to a Crimson Desert that will give you 100 hours. But is every hour actually worth your time? Not really. Let's be honest here. It's just something to do. Like it's the equivalent of watching Bold and the Beautiful. There's nothing actually entertaining or engaging. You've seen those story arcs hundreds of times. But it's just something to put on. It's background noise.
It's still rare that we get games like this. It's like
Yeah.
watching an A24 film where we're
Yes.
finally
Yes.
getting films that are pushing the boundaries of
With limited scope,
Hollywood
limited
media.
budgets. Yeah.
Yeah. And because we're now getting this, look how fucking successful their films have been. Granted, they were the only ones that were allowed to keep producing films when the writers' strike happened because they followed the rules. And with movies like Everything Everywhere All at Once,
Oh my
what a
god, beautiful.
fucking
Yeah.
unique fucking film.
Yeah, that was a
That
fun film.
we that would have been buried under the rug if it came out.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have been as successful. And it's amazing to see that we're getting these really unique, styled experiences in mainstream media. And we're being so harsh on, well, it's not what I like.
Or
Okay.
it doesn't have failed states. It's not a real game. It's like fuck off, man. It may
When I
not
play
be the
Supermarket Simulator, I don't get a fail state. I'm running a fucking supermarket. That's another one to add to the list. There's a
I
game called Librarian, Tidy Up the Arcane Library, where you
I've
literally just put on shelves.
I've heard about this from one of my streamers. I thought that was such a fucking cool concept.
I really want to get it because it just sounds really fun to just not do anything other than putting
Organize.
books on a shelf.
Yep.
There's no failed state in that. And it's being really successful.
Yeah. People are just
But here's an
there's
interesting fact
yeah.
or opinion. Do games actually have a failed state?
Well,
Because
yeah.
if games give me a checkpoint, I'm not really failing because the game's still wanting me to play. A failed state is if the game just goes, well, that's it, you're done. You failed to play the game. That's it. But games are so generous in, well, you didn't succeed in doing this objective, you can try again.
Yeah.
How harsh do you want a game to be to feel that you failed? A game doesn't want you to quit playing. It wants you to still experience it. When I played Tomb Raider in the more recent versions like Legends or Anniversary, okay, the game puts me 5 seconds before the encounter so I can go right back in and continue. Sure, if we get into FromSoft games, there's still checkpoints with the bonfires or lamps. It still wants me to continue playing, regardless if I didn't succeed in that moment. Failing is so... Oh, sorry.
No,
just
well,
goes.
no, it's just every game is going to be different for a different type of person. And there's a reason why we don't just have one genre. Because if we did, then as human beings, we would all just agree that the one genre is the only thing that matters and nothing else needs to exist.
Are you talking about Sony right now? That's
We
just
can
a
look
little
at that.
dig at them going live
No,
service.
but that is, it's funny that that sense of variety is what has almost killed certain IPs, has almost killed certain franchises, has almost killed certain companies, because they forget about the fact that, well, you are making a very specific type of experience. Keep making that experience, but you might need to adjust the budget accordingly. This was the unfortunate reality of something like Dead Space, where that game failed because instead of sticking to its horror roots, it tried to deviate and tried to become more of an action game. Now, I'm okay with Dead Space 3, but even I can recognize that as a whole experience, it is a weaker game. It's a cool story, but it is a weaker game, and you just feel like you're going from one room to another, just dealing with whatever waves of enemies that they just come through. And you don't have any of the suspense, you don't have any of the horror, you don't have any of the kind of resource management, because they just give you ammo. And you just feel like a powerhouse. And it's fun and entertaining, especially when you're playing with another person. And there's some cool ideas that they had where the second player was hallucinating shit. Awesome. But you failed because you didn't understand the medium that you were playing, that you were trying to make, that you were servicing a very specific group of people. Because in your mind, you went, well, not enough people are buying it. But why are you trying to make a horror game that's billions of dollars? Now, not they cost them that much, but as like an extreme case, instead of doing what like A24 does, where they go, all right, we're not going to do a 500 million horror film. We're going to do something that's 10 mil, 50 mil. Budget accordingly, and you will probably find you'll have more success. I think Capcom has done a fantastic job.
They almost killed... No. Yeah, Capcom almost killed themselves.
They nearly did.
Look what happened when they started to deviate.
Yep.
And then Resident Evil 7 came out back to its roots, but modernized it.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, oh shit, this is what we needed to do.
And found a
Go
way
away
to
from
do
the
it.
action.
Yeah, and found a way to do it on probably a tighter budget than what the Dead Space remake came out. Because like I know the Dead Space remake game is good. But I do wonder whether the issue with that was they didn't budget it accordingly. They probably spent more money than they needed to.
But I find that's with a lot of games now. I feel games have way too much money spent on them. That the expectation is we're going to spend... Okay, we're going to exclude GTA from the equation completely. But when you look at games that, oh, well, this game took 200 million to make, but it only sold 100 million or 1 million.
Mm.
and it didn't meet our expectations of the game being sold. Yeah, because you spent more on the game than you needed to for it to be successful.
Mm.
I don't think games need to be that expensive, considering that this is going to be a bit contradictory, but games theoretically are much more accessible to make. I'm not going to say they're easier to make, but they're more accessible.
Mm.
Now I didn't contradict myself. I've got Unreal Engine 5. Epic has given me a whole bunch of free assets and animations that I can just plop in, and they've given me the blueprints to just whack together a game
Mm.
fairly quickly. As I said before, it won't be a very good game, but it's now accessible to make a game. And I'm not spending a single dime. Not until I put it on Steam front and it sells more than, what is it, 1,000 games?
Mm. Mm. Yeah.
I just don't think these large companies like your Sonys or Microsoft, that you need to be spending so much money to build a game that theoretically won't have that big of a successful story. But games that are like, we'll get into it. Subnautica 2.
Mm.
It sold 2 million copies in 12 hours.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yep.
And that's a game that's not even complete. It's $45 Australian. Yes. I thought, I'm going to do it. And I did. And I know that my $45 at the end of the day is going to be well fucking spent because the game is good.
Mm.
And it probably didn't cost them as much as what Diablo 4 cost to make,
Yeah.
or Call of Duty, where that is very limiting in what you play,
Yep.
which is focused on multiplayer. They want you to spend the money on all the extra shit that comes with it. I regret purchasing Diablo 4. That's one of my biggest
Ah, man.
regrets. But when you look at games like, I know you haven't played it yet, but Far Far West, I got on sale. And when I
Yep.
got your copy, it was also on sale. When I play it, 7 people worked together to make this game. And it's in early access, and it's a fucking completed game. It is phenomenal how much you can get from a small team rather than, well, our studio of 500 people made this. You want me to pay $110 to just play multiplayer? Right.
See,
Okay.
that's the problem. It's not like a military tactician where you're sitting there going, all right, you've got one person that's in charge of 7 captains, and then he's basically telling his captains, I need your troops to move in this direction. I need your troops to deal with these guys. I need these tanks to be over on this side and then coming down here. So you've got essentially like, the kind of hierarchy of leaders. When you're dealing with creatives, it's on such a different level. Because you're dealing with how people are emoting to the product itself. And when you've got a small group of people that can connect a lot easier, it's much more mobile and you can make decisions on the fly versus having hundreds and thousands of people across the globe all trying to add assets and do things and add things into the game. And oh shit, something broke because this guy from America has added this mechanic, and we had another guy who just came in from London, you know, to add something else. And oh god, now things have just fallen apart. So yeah, it does sometimes feel like there's too many, but it does take a lot of people to say make something that's on the scale of the Great Pyramids. And that's the mindset that some of these bigger companies believe, is that if we have hundreds and thousands of people working on one product, in the case of say GTA, we can make a masterpiece. But you need to allow the artists to make that masterpiece in the way that they know how to, not try and control it and be this washed out. No, but we want it to be this other successful thing. No, let them make the thing that they are good at making.
That is why I wanted to exclude GTA, because of that mentality of that creativity fucking shows in their projects. I might not gel with all of their games, but I have played them from start to finish and I've enjoyed them. And I can see why Strauss says that they have unlimited money. I get it. They've built themselves up because of the creativity
Yeah.
and that sense of, well, I can't do a lot of this stuff in real life because it's illegal, but this game allows me to.
Yeah.
But when you're playing a game like Call of Duty, where every year it's the same thing and every remastered version of that game becomes what the game was last year, it gets tiring and so fatiguing. The
Well,
last Call of Duty game I played was Black Ops 2.
Mm.
And everything to come out after was, well, it's the same. It's the same issue I have with the FIFA games. It's the
It's
same
literally what I was
thing.
going to say. It's the same thing can be said about all your sports games, where people have this contention of why don't you just make FIFA going forward and then release the updated roster. But they don't, because they want a double handle. They want to get the money on the sale of the game that they've only spent 6 months to a year developing. And then
Mhm.
they want to make their money off all the microtransactions that you're buying again year on year, because you're buying it for the new game, not for the old one. They don't want you bringing old content across. They want you buying the new thing and then having a fresh start of content that you're investing money in. And people pay thousands and thousands of dollars for fucking FIFA characters. And then on top of
I
that, get
gotta get
ripped
my
off.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Oh man. But what makes it worse is when you find out that they've gamed the system on the back end, where depending on how well you're doing will determine how likely you are to win against other players. So there's like this momentum system. So if you're doing really well early on, then the next bunch of games, despite the fact that you're moving the players in the right position, you're doing the right actions, no, the players themselves on an internal AI basis will have crappier shots, crappier guards compared to your opponent. And the developer will turn around and say, "Oh, but that's, to make it feel like it's a balanced game, like you're dealing with real players." Yeah, but I'm the one playing. I'm the one in control. You're giving me the tools to fight against another player. That's cheating. And all because you know that if I spend money on these high premium characters, which I have to get through microtransactions,
Mhm.
that I will be able to have a better time. So, moral of the story is I would rather spend 3 hours on $30 playing something small and tight that honestly doesn't waste my time and
Mhm.
has basic mechanics that get me from point A to point B, make it engaging enough, make it feel congruent to the story, than playing something that is designed to predatorily rip money out of my wallet just for the sense of joy.
And make it feel like work. Because don't forget, you got to do your dailies.
Don't forget your weeklies and your monthlies. Yeah. Look, if people don't like it, if people don't jive with it, that's fine. I'm enjoying it. I think it's pretty neat. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. No
Mm.
game is. There might be a
But
handful that get pretty
you
fucking close, but
yourself can feel like a game is perfect because it's what you want in a game.
correct.
And that is fine. That is okay. But objectively, there is no game that is
Perfect.
perfect. It doesn't exist. And I know what the reviews are for GTA 6 are going to be already.
10, 10, 10.
11s.
Whatever they choose to.
I'm telling
Yeah.
you, I am telling you,
Yep.
these reviewers are going to give it a higher score than perfect, and I'm not going to understand why.
But even I reckon even the players will think the same way. You know, it might even go the opposite way depending on the kind of politics in the game. Because it might be, oh, it's about an 8.59, and everyone else will be like 10, 10, 10, 10, 10.
You are onto something, but don't forget, and I don't get why people do this because I have an interesting fact, but because we are now being introduced to a female playable character in GTA 6, I think a lot of people are going to be like, oh, I play as a woman. Then why do you play as a woman in Pokemon? Why do you play as a woman in Mass Effect? Why do you play as a woman in Baldur's Gate 3? Why do you play as a woman in Tomb Raider? Why do you play a woman in Expedition 33? Why do you play a woman in Final Fantasy? Huh? Split Fiction. It Takes
Oh,
Two.
God.
I can go on.
Yeah, I know. It's not a big deal.
That's why I think it might get a consumer review of that point of view where GTA isn't focused on women. Then why the fuck do you play GTA Online and play as a woman? Please, the floor is yours. But
Yeah.
my thinking for GTA is because it's such a highly anticipated game, more than probably 5, this is going to be subjectively reviewed at a higher place than it
Mm,
should be.
yeah. Yeah. I guess time will tell, but they would have to fumble the ball so bad before the launch for it to get a low score. And I don't see that happening. Either that or the story is so contentious that it's on Last of Us Part 2 levels of what the fuck. Which I don't know if Rockstar is even capable of writing that style of story. So, who knows? Shall we move on to a different topic?
Yes.
Did you have one that you want to throw out?
So, we are looking at. We did bring it up, but I want to touch on it again because it kind of continues on from what we were talking about. EA on making a Dead Space 4 game that we probably will never get another entry because it just won't meet the sales expectation.
Well, they've already said, they've announced, I think recently, or one of the devs had announced that the series is done. They didn't make what they needed to. It's not happening.
Because of the development costs, they have said that if they were to make any money back, the game would have to sell 10 million units. That is absurdity.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But I thought that the remake was something that was successful. And it's crazy that we never got a remake of 2 and 3. Because I truly thought that the remake was successful and came out at the right time. Because Dead Space remake. It was highly rated. Came out 2023. That's so recent. I thought it was much further back.
No.
But that, to me, is crazy because video games that released in 2023. All right, so you're competing with Tears of the Kingdom, Baldur's Gate 3, Starfield, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, Street Fighter 6, Diablo 4, Pikmin 4, Lies of P, Alan Wake 2, Metroid Prime Remastered, Assassin's Creed Mirage, Resident Evil 4 Remake, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Hogwarts Legacy. The list goes on. For a game that has Alan Wake 2, Resident Evil 4, Dead Island, Amnesia.
See, the thing that I find interesting with the whole Dead
Remnant
Space
2. There's not a lot of horror. But yes, the thing with Dead Space.
once I'm done choking. The thing that I find interesting, so they're complaining that they only sold about 2 million. Versus now, I can't see anything for Resident Evil 9 at the moment as far as what their budget is. I'm assuming it's probably more than what they spent on Dead Space remake. But let's not forget that Resident Evil is a much stronger IP that has had how many video game iterations? Capcom have invested a lot of time and money into this franchise, whether it's through media, whether it's through the games, all of it. EA just stopped. And then they decided, oh, we'll just bring it back and then we'll see how successful the remake is. Yeah, I don't think you're going to suddenly win over the hearts and minds of an old IP other than the people that have played it before. And the people that have played it before have got the game in its original form. So if they want to play it again, they'll just play it again. And maybe they'll pick up the remake on a sale. Or they feel like, well, I want to re experience that brand new. Sure, I'll spend whatever it was, I think 70 or $80. If they want the same level of success that Capcom has, they just need to keep at it. But they're never going to be that company that's going to give a team multiple chances. If they don't see success after the first game, it's like, well, this is a dead end. Scrap it. Then what if you're not committed to this proper, why are you doing it? Or why are you spending this much money? You want something to build, like you want a strong IP, you need to start from nothing. And then you need to build a fan base. And the bigger and the more time you spend in that world, the more return you can potentially get out of it. Because now people are familiar with the product, they're familiar with the IP, and by the time you get to the third, fourth, fifth game where you've reiterated the mechanics, the combat, whatever it may be, made it better, made it more fleshed out, it tends to pick up more steam and you end up getting more fans along the way. It's a snowball effect. And some of these big companies don't see how that works because they're too afraid to spend the upfront cost early on, or they don't budget themselves accordingly and they just think, oh, we'll just throw money at the problem. You need developers and artists who are passionate about the project and are going to be there from day one and want to be there for its final release. This is the one thing that I think the Japanese have so much strength in what they do because they're consistent in, and I don't know if content is the right word, but there's an appreciation for mastery. And even if they make the same game again and again and again and again, that mastery over the IP, that mastery over the mechanics, that mastery over the development is going to reap so many fruits that, yeah, of course they're going to have people running up the hill to get the next video game because they've done it successfully so many times with the failures in mind. And they've looked at those failures and gone, okay, let's not do A, B, and C again. Let's do this. This is
It is
something
a
that
very Eastern mindset.
yeah, not a lot of Westerners get it. Not a lot of Westerners understand the importance of having a strong team, having people in the team that you can rely on, that you want to keep around because they have experience behind their belt, and empower them with, hey, you're going to keep iterating on this so that it gets better, and then the IP gets stronger and people become more familiar with it. Because it's about that compounding interest.
It's a good point.
Mm.
It's interesting to see something as close to what Alien Isolation did, where that does feel like a spiritual successor to the experience Dead Space was. That thrill of what is here.
Yeah.
And even knowing with the amount of years that we've had with the xenomorph and being exposed to so many different iterations of it, Isolation probably is what Dead Space could have been. It's just, I don't think EA is in a very good position and hasn't been in for a very long time.
Well, they're like any other big company. They rely on the strength of their successful IPs and the stuff
Mhm.
that is microtransaction based because that's what makes money. They're not looking at artistic integrity. They never have. They will see a successful franchise and go, how can we spin that into our company, buy it, and make money off of it? And I know that EA is going to come around and buy some other company one day again because they always have. The fact that they haven't makes me wonder whether it's because developers have become too privy of EA as a company and gone, no, we don't want to go there. Except for Joseph Fares. He, for some reason, and maybe he's one of these guys in the company that he knows how to budget his team and work with the team really well, where It Takes Two, Split Fiction have all done reasonably well, enough for EA to just be like, well, you guys are not spending that much money and you're making pretty decent content, so keep it up. And he makes fun games.
One of the few, but it is sad to see a series die.
Yeah.
But you know what a series is doing? Lies of P 2 is now in full development phase,
Yes.
which is quite interesting because when did Lies of P Overture that released last year?
Hmm.
Now, you wouldn't have such a big team working on the DLC, but we've almost hit a year since that DLC has launched, which is crazy to think about. It's going to be exciting to see what they will showcase in a year or two.
Hmm.
The game will release at least in 3 years,
Yeah. Easy.
maybe 4, depending. But there is a job listing that is looking at AI generative art.
Hmm.
Now, I don't know about you, but I was under the impression that you type in a prompt into AI to make it. So why would you have a job listing if, I don't know, maybe the highest paid fucking employee can just go, well, I want this kind of game. Can you generate this for me?
Are
It
you
frightens
concerned?
me.
Yeah, so you're concerned that they're going to be heavily um, controlled by AI tools.
Correct. I understand the use of wanting to use AI tools, but it just doesn't outweigh the risks of the amount of damage it does to the planet.
Yeah, that's
It is,
something that can't be overlooked. That's true.
it's fucked.
Yeah.
So
But
I get that you want to save money,
mhm.
and money at the moment for everyone is on everyone's mind. Absolutely. The world is going through a recession. It's inevitable when countries decide to do really stupid things and choose to do blockades and attack countries. It's just something that unfortunately is a pattern with the world and
Yep.
human society. But if you can't afford for an artist to do their work and you would rather just get a computer to design it, don't offer a job listing for someone to type a prompt into AI to then hand it in and go, here, did it for you. Because why would you hire someone when you could just hire an artist to do the work? So there is concern.
That's fair. That is fair.
But I'm looking forward to a Wizard of Oz game because we haven't had one.
Well, that's if we assume, like, we can assume that it's going to be Wizard of Oz. There's no guarantee.
Then why would you have Dorothy?
That's the question. But who's to say it will be in the Wizard of Oz land and she's just a character that exists in another location as we play a completely different character? We don't know.
True. That is true. Because all we know is that we've been introduced to this secret society. Dorothy has been confirmed to be some part involved in the game.
Yep.
But if you're going to reveal a character that is quite prominent in fairy tales, there would be some idea that there is a large prominent, and especially with the Wizard of Oz himself being mentioned in the lore of Lies of P,
Yeah.
there would be a deep involvement. And with the secret society wanting to hunt down Dorothy, and I'm sticking to my theory that Carlo is the Tin Man. I'm sticking to it.
That's fair.
I think that the story of Oz will be integrated. I don't think we'll stay in Krat. I think that is done. And I think we've had enough hints that we will cross the seas to the other side. I'm looking forward to it. I think the story of Lies of P was really fucking great.
Mm-hmm.
And does something that FromSoft does something really interesting in how they do their storytelling, where it's all about, well, what do you want to read and what do you want to learn about the world? How much do you want to take in? Are you going to read all the item descriptions and read the little snippets of how this item has such an impact on the world? Or are you going to pay attention to the level itself that you're exploring? Are you going to notice that there's a dead body and this particular item you find close by is related to how this character died? How much are you wanting to? Whereas Lies of P is very much telling a story with the mechanics of the Souls-born mechanic fighting. So I'm looking forward to what is to come, because I think Lies of P ended on a really good punch.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy to have official confirmation that it is now in full production.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's very exciting.
Now,
I'm surprised it took this long for the announcement, but yeah, it's really cool to know that, all right, they're on their way, that we're working on it. It'll come out, theoretically, provided they've got the budget and they've got a team that's happy to support them.
I think the sales of Lies of P and the DLC was highly successful. Otherwise, we wouldn't be getting a sequel.
Correct.
And it is probably one of, if not the best competitor for a game that goes against a FromSoft. Because we've mentioned this before, it has the accessibility where you've got your difficulty modes. So someone who isn't particularly into the masochist way of playing can go through and just go, well, I just want to play for the story.
Yeah.
Go for it. So I'm looking forward to that. I do have other things that I find very interesting. Lego 2K Drive will be delisted on the 19th
This was
of May.
so weird. It's not like it's a proper multiplayer game. Why is it
But
being
it
delisted?
has
I'm aware.
live service mechanics.
Oh my god, it's just fucked. So, all right, I'm gonna bring in something else. I was actually reading into this. Hold on, I'm just going to put. There was an article. Sorry for the dead air. There's an article that I just read. I'll see if I can bring it up. Basically, going into the fact that there is a case going through the LA courts, I think, where that might end up getting pushed through for approval, that no game, provided it's not like a freemium game, if you're paying for a title, the service either needs to refund you if they choose to close it down, or they will essentially have to have an avenue where they can shut off the online features and have the game kind of still accessible.
This is what the one in EU, Keep Games Alive.
Yeah, hold on.
This is what they're fighting for. And
here it is.
So 2K Drive can be played single player. I have it on my Switch. Why are you removing that game?
I don't know. This is what I don't understand. This is where I will give Ubisoft its fucking its flag and its just credit, because they are looking at a game like The Crew and they were like, all right, well, we're shutting off these servers, but we're gonna update it one last time so you can play it in offline mode. Awesome, wonderful, fantastic. I appreciate that, because you're at least looking after all the people that have probably spent a lot of money on the content. Or the fact that the company that made all the Lego, sorry, not the Lego, the Disney Infinity games, went, all right, here's all 3 games, and they include all the characters and all the DLC and all the things that you would have picked up from the toys. That stuff, I love. And I think that's worth celebrating, because not enough companies are willing to make that change. So this is from Ars Technica. A bill focused on maintaining long-term playable access to online games has passed out of the California Assembly's Appropriation Committee, setting up a floor vote by the full legislative body. The advancement is a major win for Stop Killing Games, grassroots game preservation movement, and comes over the objectives of industry lobbyists at the Entertainment Software Association. California's Protect Our Games Act, as currently written, would require digital games publishers who cut off support for an online game to either provide a full refund to players or offer an updated version of the game that enables its continued use independent of services controlled by the operator. The act would also require publishers to notify players 60 days before the cessation of service necessary for the ordinary use of the digital game. As currently amended, the Act would not apply to completely free games and games offered solely for the duration of a subscription. Any other games offered for sale in California on or after January 1st, 2027 would be subject to the law if it passes. So again, it doesn't involve subscription-based games. It doesn't involve free games. But anything that you are paying an actual price for the game to have access, guess what? If this goes through, the company has to be able to turn around and say, well, sorry, but we need to update this, or we need to refund everyone.
Mm-hmm. And this is what I've said before when we spoke about Anthem. When that got closed down, we paid for that. And I mentioned the company needs to do something in regards to, well, I've spent money, you've just taken it away from me. I've just given you free money for that. And now I don't have access to playing it ever again.
Yep. Yeah. No, the Lego thing was really bad. I understand that there is a subscription or a live service component to it, but it's still a single player game and you can play it by yourself. Just patch it and then keep selling it. Keep making a little bit of money. There must be some rights or something else associated with it that's causing them to have to do it. Otherwise, they would just update it and keep it running as if, yeah, no, cool, we'll just make little bucks, little dollars, little bit of revenue. Saros and the struggle that it's having with its sales. I know you're not a Sony guy.
Because is this the sequel to Returnal?
Spiritual sequel, yes. Spiritual sequel made by Housemarque.
It doesn't come too much of a shock. I think the game had really weird marketing. And I don't think it really excited people as much as they thought it would. I'm not surprised that it didn't meet the sales expectation, because it was like 300,000 copies sold.
Yeah, well, at least in the UK. It's apparently done really bad in the UK. They haven't sold as many copies as they thought they could have or would have liked. Okay. My view on this is pretty simple. Returnal by itself was a very niche title. And I know it got a lot of praise because it was a slightly more artistic endeavor, and it felt like a higher budget for Housemarque because they'd done nothing but top-down arcade shooters up until this point. So this was kind of a big step for them. The one complaint that I've heard, because I haven't played it, but the one complaint that I seem to be hearing is they chose to correct some of the contention that Returnal had by making an easier game in Saros. What I find very, not disturbing, but just an undersight. And I don't think Sony or even Housemarque really stopped to really consider the type of game that they were making and the audience that they were making it for. because this game prices itself like a premium game. But the problem with that is, even though you've put the budget, you put the time, you put the money and the effort, I don't think it has the commercial appeal based on the type of themes or the storytelling that you're showcasing.
Mm-hmm.
That's one. And two, you're making a roguelite, which, yeah, I know there's a market for that. But guess what? That market is in the under $40 mark. Most of your roguelites are being played by younger audiences that might not necessarily have or do not have the capital. So why would they go off and spend money on a fucking PlayStation and then spend $120 just to play a fancy roguelite when they can spend $20-$30 on all of these other various options from the indie space?
I would suggest people play Hades.
Play what, sorry?
Hades, which
Yeah.
is a
How much is that
that is
currently?
$37
Yeah.
Australian.
Yeah. But that's my point. It is a third of the price. And then you've got Housemarque that, yeah, okay, it's pretty. It's really fancy graphics. So you're doing a lot with it. But again, look at the audience that you're targeting. You're only going to get a very small sect of people that enjoy that style of experience. And you've also made it even more niche by making it this art house type of experience, as opposed to just make a standard sci-fi. If you want the roguelite element, that's fine. I think you still could have done the roguelite element, but it could have just been a traditional science fiction. And it probably would have worked just as well. It's like they double niched themselves. And
Because that's only locked on Sony, right?
And that's the other thing. I think that's the other contention is you're locking yourself. You've got a premium product on one console that doesn't have the same pull as far as the type of genre that it is. Most people are not going to spend that amount of money on a product like that. They will spend half of that. So if they sold it at like 60 or $70, they might have had a few more sales. And I wouldn't be surprised if it goes on sale, they might end up picking up a few more purchasers. But by then, the question is, will all the things said about the game and its, easier difficulty be now a put off for most people, where they'll be like, now I don't really want to spend $60 on it. I'll probably spend 40 or 30. Because it's not really worth my time.
Yeah.
That's a tough pill to fucking swallow. And I know that Housemarque probably spent a decent amount of money on this product. But I almost feel like they could have... It's like they either should have told a completely different story, not set in space, or if you're going to set it in space, don't make it so like obscure and fucking eldritch.
Again, I think its marketing was just so nothing. I saw one video of part of the gameplay, and I never heard anything since.
Yeah,
It really did have a lukewarm
reception.
entry, and it just nothing. There was no videos, nothing on my YouTube feed from any of the gaming channels that I have. No videos, nothing. It has I don't know. It just feels like a game that was destined to just be a failure almost.
Mm. Yeah,
So I'm not too surprised that it didn't sell as much, which is a shame.
just a bit. Just a bit.
But Sony is not doing well with their exclusives.
They are just, man, I feel bad for them. If I don't want to say bad things about Wolverine, but if that game does not make heads roll of just excitement, they are seriously in a fucking tight pickle.
The issue with Sony is that they are going to be relying on a third-party game so fucking heavily this year
Yeah, I know.
that unfortunately
Yeah, you're
that
right.
is
Fucking
going
hell.
to
Jesus
be
Christ. That's going to be their
that's
saving
their
grace.
system. 100%.
Yeah.
Everyone
you're
will get
right.
a PlayStation 5 or a Pro just so they can play GTA 6. That's
Yeah.
the only thing that's going to get them above water.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're not wrong. You are not wrong, sir. You know what? I didn't even stop to consider the fact that, yeah, they are. It's like they know that they can take their foot off the pedal for a little bit, or they can be like, you know what? We can relax if it's a shitty year up until that point. It's fine.
Yep.
But we've got this marketing deal with Rockstar for GTA 6. We should be all right. And I hope to God it works out. I really do.
Oh, it
And
absolutely
it
will.
probably will, yeah. But man, could you imagine if it didn't? And it fucking tanked, and Sony's just like, oh no.
Now, I don't want to be too much of a conspiracy theorist,
Oh, I love conspiracies. Go, shoot.
but we know that GTA 6 will not be coming to PC for a while.
Yep.
It will eventually. But I'm sure there was a back end deal where Sony and Rockstar were like, you have to release it on console. Because the reality is, if it released on PC, I can assure you no one would be buying a PlayStation 5.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you reckon there was that kind of a deal?
I think so.
It's a possibility.
Though there
I never
has
even
been a
considered
history where, GTA never released on PC at the start.
Correct.
So there could be a long-term relationship, but with the success of how PC is since pretty much COVID.
And keep in mind, Strauss himself has said, oh, fuck, I think I did that wrong. Oh, maybe not. Strauss himself has actually spoken about this, where he's like, look, we want to service one audience first because console typically is the more dominant system for us, where we get a lot more people wanting to play on a console. And I get that because at the end of
course.
the day, it's still the cheaper system versus, a PC. PCs are a bit more complicated. So, yeah, naturally, I can see why they are going to prioritize the console space over PC. But, man, just your theory alone, fuck, that would be awesome if that was the case. And you had Sony basically saying, listen, you want to release on our system that's got the most amount of audience members right now, you better make sure that you do not have this game showing on PC for at least 12 months. And what you choose to do after that is entirely up to you.
Because I think Sony is very concerned with their positioning. I don't think they're
Yep.
seeing the numbers that they want to be seeing,
Oh, absolutely
even though
not.
the console has been selling.
Yep.
With them raising the price and a fairly lackluster library,
Oh boy. What a fucking
they
shitty
are
year.
going to be trying their hardest to have one of the biggest games of the decade.
Yeah. And
It's
it annoys me that I really haven't had much to play on my fucking system. It is so fucking frustrating. Because I enjoy the PlayStation as a console, and you know, with its controller and everything. I really do get a kick out of it. But it's just there's lackluster content for me. The last thing I think I played was Death Stranding 2, which was an okay game. It was slightly better than the first one. Not, you know, blowing my mind here from a, you know, experience standpoint, and it's starting to feel like the system I got. But this is the other thing, because I play PC, I don't have these exclusives that are worth my time on the system. The next thing I'm going to be playing on it is 007, which is only because Kate wants to play it, so I figured, well, I'll buy it on the PlayStation. Normally, I would just buy the damn game on the PC.
Yep. And you can't even say that consoles are a multimedia system anymore, because you can't watch Blu-rays on there if you've got just a digital version.
Correct.
And if you've got the Blu-ray, theoretically, you're not going to be like me and then repurchase a movie just so you can watch it. And on
Yeah.
top of that, you've got your subscription services. But I own the DVD for Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. I can't watch that on any streaming service. And
Wait,
the version
really?
I've got, I don't think so.
Huh. I thought they'd have that somewhere available.
Nothing that I could see.
Jesus. Okay, then. You learn something new every day.
Let's see.
StreetRat is looking
I can
online.
purchase it on Amazon Prime for $3.
Very good.
But that's just renting. So it's not even like Sony is selling their product for their they've almost killed their own features. They're the ones that came up with the Blu-ray system.
Mm-hmm.
And the only
Yep.
way you could watch Blu-ray was using the console. And now they've just killed that media completely.
Oh, man. We live in an interesting time, and unfortunately, the younger generation don't care because they've got very different interests and very different things that they aspire to experience and try. Which, honestly, I don't begrudge them. I really don't. Like, if the younger generation connect with very different media, if they connect with very different entertainment, like, fuck it, so be it, man. It's just funny how hard a lot of these companies are working to try and get them excited, try and get them involved in the older stuff that we grew up with, that we loved and cherished. And yeah, I don't know if it's really working the same way. Some of it probably is, and other things, well, not so much. So Yeah. It's sad. It's why, for me, a lot of these, like, classic franchises just seem like they're dying because they're trying to make it so it fits for a newer generation, as opposed to, well, no, just it's meant to be from the era that it came from. I know you want to make it relatable, but you're also changing it so much that it's not. And I've made this point heaps of times. If you're not going to stay true to the original source material, don't tell that story. Tell a completely different story. Or reboot it in a modern context, but leave the old stuff. I've said this about Star Wars. If you want to change it, if you want to modernize it, fucking go nuts, but reboot the whole fucking franchise.
So I didn't realize episode 7, 8, and 9 was going to be a very different story with George Lucas.
Yeah, of course.
It was meant to be Darth Maul.
Was it actually?
Yes. That's fucking sick.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, Darth Maul was meant to be the big bad with his apprentice Talon, which you should watch the series.
He's been involved in that series, hasn't he? Because I think I saw some stuff where he was working with him.
George Lucas?
Yeah.
No.
I don't know if that was accurate. But I remember, I thought I saw something that was, that he had been working, with Disney on the property. To what extent, I have no fucking clue.
All I know is that Dave Filoni says Maul Shadow Lord will use some of George Lucas's original Maul plans. And especially once you see the ending, you're like, oh, I see what you're doing here. You're almost rewriting what happened in 7, 8, and 9. I like that.
See, I'll be honest, I haven't really stuck with the mole character in any of the shows. And it's really just because if you killed him off, you killed him off. And it's kind of weird that he's been able to just stay alive, and the justification is he had so much rage that it just kept him going. I do admire the actor that is doing the voice for him, because I think he's also played a big part. He's ever since his involvement in as Starkiller in Force Unleashed, he's had a big presence with the Star Wars writing.
Yeah.
He's been working with Dave Filoni and getting him, like, he's as much of a Star Wars nerd as Filoni is, where he's actually, I think there was an interview I watched with him where Filoni had something that he had written in the script, and he just came up and said, you forgot about this little detail. And Filoni's like, what? So, yeah. Oh, fuck, what is his name?
Sam Whitaker.
That's it, yeah. He's cool. I do like him. He's got a fun
I have a
little
lot of
presence about
respect
him.
for him.
Yeah, absolutely. No, look, man,
Just watch it for what it is.
I look, one day I will.
There's-
I don't know if I will at the moment, but
No, there's so many other things. And you will miss out on a lot of that building as a character for Maul, because the show does have flashbacks to things that happened in the Clone Wars, which makes sense. Because that's where you do see that return of who he is as a character.
well, it just, okay, so here's the thing that I also then question. How is he at, like, because this is what set into what episode
4.
4? Like
So
before or
Maul
after?
is set between 3 and 4.
Okay.
Because, spoiler alert, Maul dies. Dies.
Yes, I know, because I've seen that short or that episode or that fight between him and Obi-Wan where they have the duel again. And that was such a fucking cool animation and such a cool duel on so many aspects. The
Because
thought
it's
that went...
something that was built up for years and they come face to face.
And they did that so much justice. It's just unfortunate that they had to add all this extra bullshit, in my opinion. But they wanted to expand the universe. They want to add more to flesh everything out and make people feel like they're being invested in this massive war that honestly, it just feels like it's never ended. We're always going to be on opposite ends with this. But
100%. Absolutely. Because I love the expanded look because there is so many moving parts.
yeah, sure.
And I love that it explores, well, if you're going to do side stories, I love that they're exploring something. And it's, you know what's funny? You love Star Wars Survivor.
I do. This is... I have this contention with the game, right? I do love it, but I love it for very specific reasons on how it tells a Jedi story. I do not love it as part of the extended canon. And this is the dichotomy that I fight in my head every time I think about it. Because I would never consider it as part of the 6 movies. Never, ever, 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 ever. Because for me, it's just those 6 movies and nothing else exists. Maybe Rogue One. And then we can go into Mandalorian and all the other stuff. But
Rogue One is an expansion of a story.
it is. And I think I appreciate it because of how they treat Darth Vader and the fact that it does tie in nicely in a very small section. Whereas the how many seasons that we had of Clone Wars just felt way too extended. It's like really that this, and again, it just comes back to the fact that Cartoon Network did the Clone Wars so much justice in 15 episodes. They covered any of the major sequences that needed to happen. They introduced Grievous. They explained how Palpatine was taken, which sets up episode 3. And that's all it needed to be. I didn't need 8 seasons of a show dealing with all these extra characters and, trying to justify Anakin having a Padawan in the midst of a war when he would have just been fighting. He wouldn't have had real time to even train anyone when he was, still kind of under the whims of his master. And that's very much established in episode 4. This is the problem with writing stories backwards unless you've already got a basic script. And this is where all of the extended stuff just starts to break the logic in my head. And I don't feel like it really fits in the same way. For so many other people, it does. And that's why we've got so much of this stuff, and it's fine. I'm okay with it existing. I enjoy the fact that it's still around, and I enjoy that I get to play something like Jedi Survivor, Jedi Fallen Order. And I can't wait for the sequel. But I'm looking forward to the sequel for the very reason that I want to see this character's journey, irregardless of the fact that it makes no fucking sense in the grand scheme of this universe, because we know that Vader was notorious for going off and chasing down all the fucking Force wielders. Because the assumption is that this guy could fucking feel where all the Force wielders were, except for Yoda and Luke and Leia, which they hadn't developed their powers, so we can assume that maybe Obi-Wan was shrouding them and keeping them safe. And Yoda, being a powerful Jedi himself, was capable of doing the same thing. It's almost like they disconnected themselves.
It's a good point. It's a very good point.
So any of these other interstitial characters, all these other Jedis, even Starkiller, it's like, yeah, the game was fun, has nothing to do with the rest of the story, but I can have fun playing a fucking game in this universe, and it's
but it
cool
introduces cloning, and it introduces how Palpatine came back.
Yeah. These weird alternative universe that, oh yeah, he found himself a Padawan that was stronger than him and almost destroyed fucking Vader. Like, that in itself is a cool concept. But again, I don't class it as part of the canon the same way that, I've almost considered other stuff that's a little further out. I would consider, this is the weird thing, I consider the Jedi Academy, or the Jedi Outcast, as more in line and with the canonical storytelling than what I do with anything that Disney's done.
Because are they set after?
Yes,
I know
but
Academy is set after C.
They are set way after. So you have those original characters, but it's like we've moved on. The Empire is kind of like the remnants of it, but we have whole new cast of characters and whole new other issues and problems. That's not related in any bigger sense. Luke is just, he's done. The Force has been balanced. He just exists. And he's just trying to train the next generation of Jedis in his school. There's a simplicity to those old games and the stories that they told that I think the newer stuff tries to get too in depth and tries to, make it too cute. And I think it loses itself. But I might watch Maul and be like, okay, I'm enamored by it. Because this is the thing, I love Maul. I've always loved Maul. I hated the fact that Maul as a character even died in episode 1. And I feel like he shouldn't have. But Lucas had a different plan in his head.
And it's weird because Lucas had the idea that Maul was going to be what episode 7, 8, and 9 was going to be. So it's weird that he even went down that direction and not have a Sith, if you want to call him a Sith, get chopped in half.
Because I guarantee you, like many other decisions that he made, he probably realized after the fact that, oh, maybe that wasn't the best decision and I probably should have kept him around. It's not the first time he's done that. So apparently Boba Fett is a perfect example of a character that he underlooked and didn't realize that people were going to like cling to Boba Fett like a fucking bees to flowers. So he ended up undermining an interesting side character that ended up becoming a bit more prominent later in the series. And you could see that with some of the extended universe that was written for Boba Fett after the fact. And so I think he realized he did the same thing with Darth Maul, where he created a really fucking cool character that people really clinged onto, and he realized, oh, maybe I shouldn't have killed him so quickly. Fuck.
You mean people didn't like Jar Jar Binks?
Man, I fucking love Jar Jar. I know he's clumsy, and I know that he's meant to be the slapstick. I don't get why people don't get that. Like, it's
I
Ugh.
still love the theory that Jar Jar is really a Darth's Jar Jar. I love the idea that he was Sith because he voted for Palpatine to be an emperor, and he voted against what was good.
You know,
Hence why he was shunned from the people. I
so
love that idea.
there's there's a fun, I didn't even know this was a thing, but there's a fun little bit that was cut out from episode 2. I think it's episode 2 or episode 3, where it's Padme in the council talking with Organa and a couple of other members about all the changes that Palpatine's making, and how they all stood by him thinking that he was going to make all these great changes, and yet he's really just manipulating them and he's screwing them over and they don't know why. And so I sometimes wonder about Jar Jar, whether he always intended to make Jar Jar a senator type, give him a senator type role, because there's something ironic about the storytelling of having this character that was clumsy and fucking stupid and managed to get himself promoted upwards because of just sheer dumb luck, to then get promoted again into government. And those are the people that are running the joint, to then have someone like Palpatine in power and going, well, now that I have a bunch of these fucking retards working, I have complete dominance and I can just completely overrule every decision because I've put all of these morons in charge. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm almost wondering, you know what? Was it sheer dumb luck? Or did Palpatine always kind of sit there and just off the corner make Jar Jar successfully do things that he needed to?
Ooh. Mind manipulation.
He was a powerful enough Sith Lord that he could sit there and just manipulate the Force enough to make this clumsy fool get by and successfully help win the war. He will be a perfect candidate in the Senate. Ha 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 ha.
Do it.
So yeah, it's I don't know what to think about if Lucas had plans with Maul. It's like, really into 7, you're gonna tell me that this character from all the way in episode 1, when Anakin was a teeny weeny little lad, he's gonna be this old, fucking what are they called? A Dathomirian that's just hanging around in episode 7, hanging out with Han Solo's kids and dealing with Luke when Obi-Wan's dead. It's like, what's your purpose? What's your motivation? Why are you still around?
Well, if I can't take revenge on your Jedi Master, I'll take revenge on you.
Yeah, and that's like, at that point, it's like, come on. This is just, let it go, guys. It's a whole family affair. You killed my father. It wasn't me. It was Uncle Ben, and he wasn't actually my uncle. He was my carer. He saved me and something. Why are you here? Leave me alone. I just fought my father. I'm already dealing with too much emotional baggage. Yes, but you killed my father, and now I will claim my revenge. Battle to the duels of the fate. Come on. I have a triple lightsaber.
Oh, a triple.
Yep.
He holds one in his mouth.
Yeah.
No, that's just one piece.
Like a pirate. Oh, God. Don't start. We'll be here forever.
1,060 episodes worth.
Yeah, other than that, the only other thing I want to throw out is the new Steam controller. Have you heard what happens when you drop it? I thought this was cute.
Ah!
Yeah, the Wellheim scream. I thought that was fucking dope. That's such
Only
that.
when you are playing Steam in big picture mode.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. That's fair. It kind of
But
sucks that you cannot use that controller through the other storefronts. So it will only work with Steam specifically. Or at least, sorry, I think it's mainly the mouse features.
oh, I wonder if they'll eventually do an update once the Steam machine releases.
Maybe. Maybe eventually. So, yeah. Before we jump off, Kate and I had watched Project Hail Mary.
That's
Have
on
you
my
seen that?
list.
It's
No,
good.
not yet.
It's good. It has some serious plot holes in certain aspects, but it's just a fun film. It's so well told. It's really well kind of put together, created. Fantastic CGI. The special effects. I don't even know how they do all the zero gravity stuff. It's so fucking convincing. And I'm looking at some of the shots where he's floating or just pulling himself towards certain things. I'm like, this doesn't feel like CGI. If this is CGI, the guy coming up with the models is a fucking powerhouse. But if they did this for real, practically, fucking hell, they hid either the wires really well or they must have spent a lot of money on trying to make a zero G like structure. But fucking hell. Just incredible work.
I'm looking forward to it. I've heard nothing but good things.
Fucking hell. I'm not speaking in the mic. Yeah, no, the Matrix movies are fucking awesome. I'm annoyed that the recent 4K versions or at least for the first movie, they've removed all the green tint from the
Oh.
moments where he's in the virtual world. So they've like evened out the color spectrum, which is like, guys, no, fucking hell, this was meant to be a stylistic choice by the director. Anyway,
Silly.
yeah, such a good series of films. And honestly, the more I watch them, and I've spoken to you about this ages ago. I love 2 and 3 more and more as I get older and I rewatch them. Like I love 1. I know 1 can stand on its own, but 2 and 3 just really add more to that world and really just complete it. Give it more life, give it more depth. Great series. Shall we call it there?
I think so.
Unless you've got something
There's
you'd
a
like
few
to add.
things. Nah. We can talk about it next week.
Cool. Well, where can we find you, Street Rats?
You can find me. I should get better at doing these plugs.
You and
You
me
can find
both.
me on all the socials: Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, and Blue Sky at StreetRat_Atlas. I'll be going live on Wednesday playing through Mass Effect 2
Woo!
Legendary Edition. And Saturday, where Jake and I will continue playing cooperative games, currently playing Baldur's Gate 3, which
Yes.
I think you're right. I think we've got another month or so.
At least, man. At least. Not
Easily.
going anywhere.
But I also poorly organized, but I do have a Discord server. I do typically post my weekly schedule if I add anything new to it. But I've been pretty lazy with it, which I really need to do.
Pick up. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not very good with socials. God, I
I
sound
need
so
to.
old, but I
Yeah,
just ugh.
I need to probably be more involved in that, but I enjoy just chatting on this channel, on my channel with you. This is fun. If we ever get an opportunity
Agreed.
to talk to someone about the games industry, that will always be a nice little bonus. Learn more about it, expand my understanding of it, which not a lot of people want to do. So it is what it is. As for myself, you can find me on YouTube and on Twitch at 7:30 Eastern Australian time, playing Crimson Desert currently on Wednesdays, and we are doing, of course, Baldur's Gate on Saturdays with StreetRat and I, as we do our regular gaming chatter on Worth the Damn Games. So like and subscribe, comment, leave us feedback, talk to us, join into the chat like Impulsive and so many others have. We love hearing from you guys. We love asking or answering any questions. But yeah, till then, you can see us on our corresponding channels. So everyone, look after yourselves, stay safe, and we will see you next time. See ya.
Good night.